Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. Guess who is sick? I am sick! Yay! I was talking about it last stream. And I really hoped I could just sleep this off, but now I'm actually sick, so it is unfortunate. But I felt like streaming. I don't know, I woke up and I was laying in bed and I was like thinking of all these nice games while listening to lo-fi, like I could play that, I could play this, I could play that. And I was thinking maybe we could finish today this young adult summer, you know? I think it would be nice to get that to completion, and then we could have a final stream one day where we play the adult time. Hello Puppet Bro, what's up? I'm sick. I'm sick unfortunately, which is a bummer because we had a Pathfinder session for today. It's the campaign I drew the character for. I sent you a message or for like a little screenshot of. It's a bummer, but I can stream something. And so I'm streaming this game because yesterday it crashed. It actually crashed, and then I verified the files and like a lot of them were missing or something, so it was weird. I just hope that none of the progress is lost. Yeah, how is your day going? I'm also like constantly like either cold or too hot, so it's gonna be interesting. I hope I don't sound too sick. I hope I sound manageable. But I was thinking of a lot of different games to play, but who knows? Maybe I'll end up streaming another game later in the evening, or maybe tomorrow. We'll see. Could be better. I also feel ill, but I'm drawing as usual. Yeah. I also like I got from bed and I was like I'll start drawing, but I had taken my medicine to an empty stomach, so I feel like that had a little bit of a side effect of me feeling a little more sick. So I just ended up like laying on the floor for a while, but it's fine. Being sick is so annoying when you're feeling like you're too tired to do shit, but like you're not able to sleep. It's really annoying. Like trying to come up with something to do, not get bored out of your mind. Yeah, it's been a while since I was last sick. Anyway, let's continue with the game. The game was lagging a bit, that's concerning. Anyway, we got the hang and errands done, so today is like talks, charity drive, and then hopefully we can manage also the last bit. Yeah, it's just gonna chill and read these things and do all that shit. I was also feeling like playing like Omori, which is an interesting one because I have played Omori once. I played it when I was doing really bad in life, and I was like, why would I want to play that jolly game when I'm sick? But I don't know, maybe I should play Omori again. I was listening to a track of its soundtrack, and that was like, it's really good. You sent a drawing? Ooh, I like that. I like that. The nose is really interesting. Is there like a hollow nose? Am I reading it correctly? Nice. You draw so much. Do you ever get like wrist pains? Also, do you have like a writer's bump on your like finger? Because I have like major. I've had since I was like a child, like this bump in my middle finger. And it just never has gone away. It's just there. And when I like draw a lot, it starts sometimes aching and get like slightly bigger for a while. But I haven't really met other people who would have a similar finger. Which is, I don't know. Is it unusual to have a writer's bump? I don't know. I wrote a shit ton when I was in maybe 4th grade or something. And then just like, I still write a lot of my notes and stuff like that by hand. No wrist pain, but I do have a callus on my middle finger. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, then there's 2 of us. Hey, yay! Anyway, let's play the cozy little romance we have going on here. I was thinking of this game after yesterday's stream, like how like uncharacteristic it is for me to play these kind of games, but for some reason I have found enjoyment in this game. It is interesting. It's also like when I've been talking with my friend about like a romanticism and like not wanting to be in a relationship, it's really interesting. I feel like that I still enjoy the ideas or the concepts around like these kind of human connections, but I would not want it for myself like permanently, like long term. Like I could LARP a relationship for a few days and then I would be like, that would be enough for me. But I don't know, somehow I found enjoyment in this little romance. Heading to the window, you could see Cove outside. His habit of climbing this way really was a true Covism. He'd rather scale your house than wait a couple extra minutes for you to come down. Let's hold a hand out to him. He offered Cove a hand to help him. Once he was mostly inside, he took it to help steady the last bit of his entrance. Though considering how many times he'd done this, he hardly needed the help. I mean, it's a nice gesture to help.
Hey.
Hey Jamie. Hi to you. You think my moms should invest in bigger windows? Cobb laughed at that and took one last look at his exclusive entrance. He hummed with a teasing look on his face. Maybe. Cove's voice came out quietly with a strangely pleased smile on his face. Did something happen? Cove opened his mouth to answer, only to have your phone ringing cut him off. You both turned to where it rested, a little further up on your bed. It was still face down, so you couldn't tell who was calling. I remember. Oh no, this is such a drama. I don't know why they include this in the game. Now I remember what this is gonna be about. I was like, what talks are we gonna have? Like, what is it gonna be about? But now I remember. Your attention shot back to Cove. He smiled at you awkwardly.
Don't worry about it.
Go check it. Could be important, I'll wait. Thanks. You shuffled forward and scooped a little noisemaker into your hand. You flipped it over and checked the caller ID. It's Miranda. You should answer it. I want to say hi too. Oh, the drama, I remember now. I was really frustrated with this chapter. With a nod, you accepted the call and set it to speaker. Hi Miranda. Hi. There was something off about her tone. Cove met your gaze, and you saw the same confusion in his expression.
Have you heard from Terry?
At all? Oh, did you hear about her from Cove? No, she hasn't called me, but Cove is with me right now. Hi. Oh, hi Cove. Is that what you were going to say? He shook his head no, before realizing that it wasn't a good enough answer when one person couldn't actually see it.
No.
Terry hasn't called me today either. Something wrong. This is so stupid. If I remember correctly, I mean, it might not be that stupid, but I have a memory that this episode is gonna be like really annoying. Terry doesn't like me anymore. If she ever did. What? That doesn't sound right. You're probably her best friend out of all of us. Yeah, why do you think that? She sniffled, and there was a pause as you could hear her shift the phone to her other hand. Terry was here the other night watching movies with me. We were up super late. She realized the parents probably went to bed, so they couldn't pick her up. My mom and dad were definitely asleep then. Dad works early. I tried telling her it was okay to just spend the night and she could text her parents what happened, but Terry really didn't want to. I glanced at Cove. He looked equally unsure as you about where the story was going. It didn't sound like a friendship ending situation, yeah. Like a little sleepover. I suggested things to make it easier if she was nervous, like she could sleep by herself in my room while I stayed somewhere else. Yeah. And I said that we didn't have to sleep at all. We We could have just kept watching movies until one of our parents woke up. I wouldn't have minded. I know not everyone can do sleepovers, but Terry wouldn't even tell me what was really wrong or what I could do to help. Yeah, it's like I feel like they just take a huge step back to like being like 10-year-olds, even though they're supposed to be like, I don't know, in their teens. Like, shouldn't like not relying on your parents that much be already like a norm by this point? I don't know. It seems really weird, this whole thing. I thought we could tell each other anything. I guess I was wrong. Did she stay in the end?
No.
We got too loud in the kitchen. My dad woke up. He offered to drive her home when he heard what was wrong. She texted me apologizing for my dad having to do that when he needed rest, but that was it. She isn't talking to me anymore. Maybe she just needs time. I'm also gonna blow my nose for a while. Wait a minute. I am also swiping off some sweat because I am hot and cold at the same time, because that's the good old way of being sick, right? Really annoying stuff. But I am feeling better. We were supposed to like play, I don't know if you know the board game Catan. It has like, you build like a kingdom and grow cities and stuff like that. We were supposed to have, or we had plans, or we still have plans for tomorrow to play it, so I really hope I get a little better by then. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Anyway, you could hear every bit of the tears and heartbreak in Miranda's voice. This continued to be a shock for your neighbor, but Cove recovered and spoke gently. I'm really sorry. Why is the game having lag problems? Like, what is this thing? I'm gonna save just in case.
I mean,
there's no way Terry wanted to make you feel this bad, or that she's just done with your friendship because of this. Miranda's sniffing continued. You hoped she had plenty of tissues handy. It'll be okay. It had to be. You couldn't imagine any alternative. I can imagine a lot of alternatives. I can imagine a lot of them, actually. A bunch of alternatives, okay? Miranda's voice sounded a little bit more collected after her finishing her story, but you knew that the crying was far from being done. I thought she'd have reached out to one of you by now. Maybe she's not talking to anyone. If this happened like last night, maybe she just needs some time. Collect herself or something. Yeah. Sorry for bothering you and Cove about this. Hey, we're here for you.
right.
You can tell us things. Her shaken voice finally conveyed a little optimism, or at least relief that she wasn't dealing with it entirely on her own.
Is that all right?
If you do hear from her or anything, could you let me know if she's alright? Thanks. Let's talk later, okay? Bye. That didn't really seem like an especially productive point to end the call, though you also weren't sure where to go from there. Looking at Cove, his face seemed as lost as yours. With no alternative, you hang up and put your phone back on your bed. See, we could have had a nice summer day, just us and Cove, just hanging around, you know. Two people who just graduated from high school. Maybe we could go swimming or something. No, we have to deal with this friendship shit. Cove crossed his arms, a frown creasing his face. He began to pace the length of your room, clearly trying to put the pieces together in his head in a way that made sense. Yeah, let's say I feel pretty confident about this working out well. Yeah. It was no fun hearing Miranda so sad, but you could definitely empathize. But right now, there was no reason to get too worked up. It was only a matter of time until Terry reached out to someone, and he was sure hearing her side of things would clear it up. The empty state of your head before learning this was not helping you now. You couldn't put two things together, and flopping back on your bed, you stared into space. You should probably try calling Terry. Cove's voice managed to drag you back to some grounding. He'd stopped pacing, and you still saw a perturbed face on his look on his face. Is it really something we should get involved with right now? Cove's mouth pressed into a hard line. At the moment it seemed like the two of you were on very different wavelengths as to how to deal with this. Yeah, I mean...
Come on.
Yeah, I want to talk to Terry. She's my friend too. Fine, then let's call her. Cove looked away and pulled his phone out. You went over and stood at his side as he was dialing. Cove let it ring and ring and ring and ring. Terry didn't answer. There wasn't even an option to leave a voice message. The shoulders slumped, and Cove looked even more troubled. If that was possible, he looked to you as if for some lifeline. Could you try calling? I'm gonna send a text, just like, hey, I was trying to reach you, call me or something. You took your phone once more. Unfortunately, after another set of interminable rings, the line was dead. No answer, no voicemail. Hanging up, you saw Cove visibly deflate. He rubbed his arm, eyes distant, openly struggling with the whole affair. I mean, I guess you could, like, also just, like... They probably have each other's parents' phone numbers too, since they're, like, childhood friends and all. Maybe. No, they're not. Terry was introduced to the game in high school. Maybe no. I mean, if they had... They could just send a message like, hey, could you just tell us if she's okay, and then they could just give her some time, knowing that she's, like, alright, you know? I don't know. I don't like this at all. They're fighting, we barely know anything, and we're supposed to just wait and see? Yes, Cove. Focus on Jamie, for once. Despite it only being a minute since he texted Terry, Cove checked his phone again. He was desperate for progress, for something, and he frowned as he watched him. There's no way Terry has answered you, what the fuck? I guess, I don't know, all of these are pretty bad responses to the situation, gotta say. I'm just gonna stay silent, I don't like the options we have. There was nothing you could think to say. All you could do was now hope that Terry was alright. It was up to her to reach out back now. Glancing at your phone in vain, you considered sending a text message too, if that would even help. This was making you feel all twisted up. You could see the same sort of discomfort on Cove's face. There was something consoling in that, at least. Words drifted from his mouth like a feeble breeze. Is this normal kind of drama? I don't remember ever having anything like this going on with my friends. Like... I don't know, do people have this kind of drama going on? I don't know. I don't know. I guess this could be normal. You could hear in both of your voices how much you wanted to give and receive reassurance. Try to believe the sentiments, weak as they were.
Well...
Should we... What do we even say if we do not hear from one of them? Like, I would understand, like, being very worried if we knew, like, for example, that Terry had, like, some, I don't know, mental health problem background or something like that. But if it's just, like, oh, she didn't want to stay for a sleepover and then went home, it's kind of like, I don't know. Am I downplaying this too much? Maybe I am. Maybe I'm an empathic person. Could be totally the situation here. His pacing resumed as he attempted to answer his own questions, but it was written all over his face that he had no idea how to tackle any of this. Just fucking wait! He slowly came to another halt, like a gear winding down. We should just comfort Miranda and let up with Terry. We should find out Terry's side of the story, maybe, yeah? Nothing could be done until you knew what she thought of this. That much was certain. Cove nodded, slightly in agreement. For several minutes you both remained there in silence, drowning in your thoughts. Eventually Cove turned around. I'm gonna text Terry that we already know what's going on. Maybe she'll have an easier time talking to us because she won't have to pretend or explain. I mean, why not? All of these are so negative, these reactions. Why are you fixated on this? That's not a good idea, Cove. Not at all. I think you're pushing too much. I mean, I guess we can go with the first one. Yeah, that might be the only way to get her attention. With the two of you on the same page, he steeled his gaze to prepare for taking this next step. Cove's fingers worked furiously yet carefully. He was giving his full attention to his words. He sidled up next to him and looked, trying to watch what he was writing. Cove rapidly typed out, "Hi, Jamie and I really want to talk to you. Miranda told us what happened. Please reply back." And sent. It was done. We'll just need to see what happens now. Jealous much? I wish you weren't so concerned with everyone else's feelings but mine. What the fuck? Let's go with I'll definitely be alright, Cove. It'll be definitely alright. Think so. Okay, let's go with that. Let's not be that selfish. Give your best smile in the hopes of cheering him up. Gave a weak smile of his own in return. I hope so, I really do. A small noise escaped his lips. All the frustration of the situation crumbled away from his face and he spoke softly. Thanks, Jamie. I'm glad it's not just me with all this happening. Cove took one last look at his phone and then put it away. His effort at a smile was meager but earnest.
It's okay.
We can just forget about it for a while. Terry will talk to us when she wants to. Hell yeah, right attitude. That sounds good to me. And you meant it, exhaling some of your own concern away. The last thing you wanted was to fight with Cove. A silence stretched on in what felt like hours, but it likely wasn't that long before there was a knock at your bedroom door and Mom peeked in. Just wanted to check in on you. Oh, Cove, when did you get here? And when she saw you were there, she opened the door all the way. Mom was standing there as well. She slipped past her wife to come inside your space. What's going on? We're okay. It's just Miranda called earlier. Why are the parents getting involved in this? They are not young kids anymore, right? Or is this like a healthy growing up environment where people can still like, but these things are still like concerned with parents too at the age of, I don't know, when do you graduate from high school in US? 17? What? I'm gonna blow my nose, wait a minute. I don't know, is this what life is supposed to be like? The developmental stages? I'm not sure. Anyway, Terry and Miranda are fighting and none of us know what's going on with Terry. Your parents exchanged a meaningful look, though its meaning was lost on you.
I am so sorry.
That's too bad. I'm sorry there's trouble with your friends, sweetie. Is there anything we can do to help? Out of the corner of your eye, you saw Cove rub his arm awkwardly, unable to add anything. No, we're just waiting to see if Terry calls or texts, or if Miranda does. Well, we can at least help you take your mind off of things while you're waiting.
Yeah.
Another great idea, Lani. We can get the whole gang together for some quality time. What? Mom gave you a soft smile and added, "This'll be good, especially since it might help make up for what happened at the farmer's market." Yeah, it'll be wonderful. I'll go see what Liz is up to right now. I wonder if we did not play the farmer's market bit, would they still say this? Like if we played, or for example, if we played this in wrong order, would they still say this? And then it would be like what do you mean? Excited, she fluttered a few steps away and then stopped. She pivoted on her heels and raised a single finger, flashing a big smile at Cove.
It's no trouble.
And of course Cliff will be welcome too. Knowing your family was always there for you, that couldn't be underestimated. In fact, it meant everything to you that your mom cared so much. I really appreciate this, thank you.
You're welcome.
Don't sweat it, not so kiddos. Leave things to us. Okay, so what the fuck are we gonna do? You flop down on your bed, feeling like you could sink into it and disappear. Cove meanwhile took a spot on a chair off to the side. He sighed at the same time and Cove's mouth pulled into a bent smile at that. He gave his phone another quick check and his eyebrows furrowed. Still nothing? Yep, this is crap, huh? Cove chewed at the inside of his cheek, as if to mimic the stress that was clearly eating away at him. Oh, what's wrong? What's really wrong? One disagreement doesn't make you act like this. That got a pointed pause in his movement. Cove was carefully trying to put his thoughts together. He spoke in a fragile voice. When people you care about, when they're unhappy with each other, there's nothing you can do. At least when you're in a fight yourself, you have some responsibility, some control over it all. I wish it didn't have to happen, but that isn't possible, so oh well, I guess. His attempt at giving a nonchalant shrug after that was pitiable. This is such a foreign situation to me. I don't have, like... There was one point though, like when I got introduced to my friend group for the first time, there was like some drama between the people, but I wasn't a part of it, so I just like... I didn't really care about it, you know? I was like, people will solve it, and then I'll just situate myself there where I feel comfortable, you know? Like in the group dynamics or whatever. But it's like, I don't know. Of course it's a sour mood if you're, for example, hanging out like with some people and then they start fighting and then the whole like mood sours. But especially when it's far away, like you're not even physically present with the people. Isn't it possible to draw some kind of emotional distance to the whole situation? Okay. True, but you're right that it can't be helped. Let's go with that. He replied like he could barely muster the strength to speak. Well, we just have to focus on the things we can impact. Or at least try. You turned to Cove, hoping your eyes conveyed the message you were feeling better than your words. His gentle nod told you that they did. There was a question you had to ask. Is it because of what happened with your parents? Cove ran a hand through his hair, a strange smile spreading across his lips. For him, this pain struck close to his heart. Just as quickly as it had come, his smile was gone, lost amidst his faraway gaze. Yeah, you got it. It's like my parents. Despite knowing him for so many years, Cove had never spoken of the years before he moved to Sunset Bird, before his parents separated in any detail. He whispered his thoughts distantly, almost unconcerned with whether you could hear them or not. They used to fight all the time. I think they got along when I was a baby, but I mean, they had to have wanted to be with each other at some point. But when I was old enough to remember anything, it was already bad. There was always something wrong and I could never help. I just wanted them to be happy. You tried to imagine your moms breaking up and the very idea scared you, but Cove had endured that for real. It's very interesting, like when my parents broke up and stuff like that, I just kind of like the mentality I went for, which I think it's maybe somewhat also like usual, is like these things are like out of control and like a profound acceptance that relationships will end, like friendships and like romantic relationships, all relationships will come to an end, and that is just how it is. And like I'm really I guess I've developed into being very pro divorce and pro breaking up. Like if it doesn't work, I guess the thought of like ending it would come very quick to me. So when it comes to like people having fights between each other, it's like, why would I want to have any control over it? Or why would I have to control it? It's between the two people, and it's like wherever that ends up is where it ends up, and then I can just like decide to then be there for the people if they're important to me or they're part of my life or something like that. I don't know, it's like it's where I've gone, so like I guess fighting doesn't faze me that much. Of course it's like it's different, of course, if you're in like there physically when the fighting happens. That's of course a little different situation, but if it's like this abstract thing that's happening in some other people's relationship, it's easier to just like really let it be, I guess. I'm sorry.
Don't worry
Jamie,
about
it's okay. Despite the revelation, Cove gazed reassuringly at you. It's not like that anymore. Things are so different now. I don't even really think about it. Again, the sorrow reasserted itself. When he continued, you could barely hear him. Though I guess it's pretty obvious I haven't forgotten either. I guess we could hug him. I mean, Jamie's aggressively we're romancing Curve aggressively, but I feel like hug could be maybe a little bit more appropriate in this situation. You crossed the room, picking up a little bit of speed, and Curve's eyes widened. He shot out of the chair and stood waiting for you with a nonplussed look. When you collided into him, wrapping your arms around his middle and knocking the air out of his lungs, all mystery was gone. Curve squeaked. You returned the gesture longingly. Exhaling, you pressed your cheek into the warmth of his chest. The tension stuck inside you, released like a river flowing into the ocean that was Curve. The firmness of his tug told you Curve didn't plan on letting go anytime soon. You both needed the comfort and closeness for just a little bit longer. When he finally did, he kept hold of your hand. The two of you took a seat again, this time side by side on your bed.
Well...
Today was a lot, huh? Yeah. What should we do? You sat there contentedly, you leaned against him or you caressed his hand. Let's caress his hand, I think that's nice. Hands are sensitive, so there's a lot of like... You can really feel it when you're touching someone's hand. Now holding it with both of yours, your thumbs lightly brushed his skin as you admired it for a moment, and then you laced your fingers with his again. Cove studied every move you made with a doting look. No matter what happens, we can make it work. His mouth pulled into a bent smile at that. He chuckled. No, you can't make it work for other people. It's their relationship. He couldn't sit still anymore. Cove leaned in, delicately pressing his lips to your forehead, and he raised one free arm to lightly touch your jaw. The breath got caught in your throat. When you remembered to breathe, blood rushed to your face, turning your skin a deep red. Tried not to think about how hot you were feeling. The mood swings! The mood swings here, what the fuck? You tried not to think about how hot you were feeling, because after everything that happened today, you were just grateful for the moment. And for a while you stayed like that. A comfortable quiet fell between you and the sun fell with it. ... The warming calm ended when Cove gasped so sharply. You spun, half expecting to find him nursing an injury, but instead found him staring straight ahead. What?
Oh my god.
I think my phone just vibrated. Oh my god. He patted his pockets, fumbling in his panic, and yanked the phone out. The force of the action nearly catapulted the device out of his grip entirely, but he caught it in just in time. His eyes honed in on the screen. It's Terry, thank God. She says she's sorry. He looked back at you, eyes wide, as his nerves started to fray once more. What should I say? Maybe tell her to call us? Like, typing messages is really annoying. Especially if it's like a complex situation. He nodded and began typing. I was aware of his blunt words, that his blunt words could sometimes make others bristle, even though he never meant them to hurt. Cove's phone buzzed nearly as soon as the message was sent. Ah, it's Terry again. She's talking to us. She asked about what Miranda has said. Wait. He leaned in, watching the conversation unfold on Cove's screen.
Right.
She's actually gonna call. Cove held his breath as he waited. His circle of friends had always been small, so he managed to avoid the stress of seeing friends fighting. He suspected he was feeling this even more keenly, both because this was so uncommon and the friends were so important to him. I mean, it is an uncomfortable situation when like, for example, you're in a friend group and then two of you like break up or something. Like, at that point it can be a little uncomfortable, right? I'll blow my nose. Alright, okie dokie. Let's continue.
Self-voicing enabled. You
What?
suspected he was feeling this.
No.
Self-voicing
What?
disabled. Self-voicing.
What?
Self-voicing disabled.
Oh. I didn't know this game had that. What the heck? I mean, that's good. It's inclusivity for you. His phone rang out. Cove jammed down the button. He switched the phone into speaker mode, allowing you to participate in the conversation. Wow. What the heck? I mean, we can listen to this too.
Self-voicing enabled. He switched the phone into speaker mode, allowing you to participate in the conversation.
Would you rather listen to this?
But despite his immediate reaction, his voice lacked the same resolve when he spoke.
No, I can't do
Self-voicing
that.
disabled.
It's good for inclusivity of the game, or like accessibility, but no, I can't listen to that. Hey, it was tentative of white flag fluttering in the wind. Jamie's here too. Yay, the voice is way funnier. Alright, we can do it. We can do
Self-voicing
it.
enabled. Jamie, hi. We've been worried about you. Terry, hey, buddies.
Hey, buddies.
Terry's voice was barely recognizable without her usual quick pattern and energy.
Are you
Cove,
okay?
Are things okay? Terry, I don't know. Probably not. Tense,
Oh, this is
his
horrible.
free hand coiling into an anxious fist. Cove, what
Into
happened?
an anxious feast.
Terry, don't you know already?
Don't you know already?
Cove, Miranda explained some of it, but it doesn't make sense to us. You heard Terry sigh over the phone as she unburdened herself. Terry, pretty much, I was at Randy's house. We decided to watch some movies she super liked that I'd never even
She
seen
super
before.
liked. Is there a possibility to like make it faster? Or is it just this speed? I guess
Auto forward.
this is really interesting. What the
Terry.
heck?
Pretty much. Terry, turns out there's a lot of those. We watched one, then another, and another. We were having so much fun.
We were
Each
having
time
so
one
much fun. The
finished, she
enthusiasm
had
in the
another one
voice.
to share with me.
The emotion. The joy.
Terry, I didn't really think about the time. I only wanted to say yes to Randy and watch her movies.
Oh, so emotional. So sweet. So
She spoke
touching.
wistfully, but her words were full of affection. Terry, it was Randy, you know. I wasn't thinking about my schedule or
Yeah,
what
this
time it was.
Terry and Randy are gonna end up together. I know
Jamie,
it.
I get it, Terry. Then I finally saw the time. And oh no, it
And
was
oh
way
no.
too late.
It was way
I
too
already
late.
knew I couldn't stay. Self-voicing disabled.
Sorry, I can't listen to this any longer. She took a deep breath, her voice becoming softer as when she resumed talking. What the fuck was that voice she just made? I was so stressed out. I just couldn't deal with it. Miranda wanted to help. She kept coming up with ways to make it better and trying to figure out why I was so upset and stuff. I was trying to answer her questions, and there were so many, but I couldn't really answer all of them. I didn't even know why some of her ideas didn't work with me. It made my head ache. I still had the first problem and Randy there, trying to help, blasting with all these questions and suggestions at me faster than I could even think. She gulped audibly, sniffing. I got frustrated and told her to just leave me alone. Then she wanted to talk about why I wanted that, and we started having a fight in the kitchen. It woke Randy's dad up. I told him about how I wanted to go home, but my parents couldn't get me, so Mr. Eckert offered to do it. I accepted because I definitely couldn't stay then, not after throwing a racket and turn it into a big deal. But I feel awful and embarrassed. Why did I yell at Randy and hurt her feelings? And I made her dad lose sleep by waking him up and having to drive me home. What the fuck is this whole situation? Are people actually like this? Like some people? I don't know, you could just say, I'm feeling overwhelmed for a moment. Could you let me collect myself? Or something, I don't know. I don't know, this is weird. It's so weird, this whole fucking thing. So I'm not talking. Terry, Randy isn't mad at you. Mad that you didn't want to stay or that you fought. She just wants to feel like you can talk to her. I mean, you can say whatever you want. She listened. Not talking to her at all is pretty much the only wrong way to go about it. Terry lamented mournfully on the other end of the line. But he had a point. Unless she faced Miranda again, there would be no resolution. Do they not learn communication skills? What is the level of communication skills you can expect from a person who has just graduated from high school? I don't know. I don't remember. You looked at Cove, hunched over the phone, staring pensively into it and searching for a solution. I was like, I don't know, I feel like it tells a lot about the stability of these people's lives that this is the one thing that upsets them. Like having a little bit of communication errors. Like, this is the biggest thing. This is a huge deal. Not wanting to stay overnight and being confused about your feelings. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to like think about this. This couldn't be solved with the other key part missing, but what if you brought them in? Your phone was still free? You suggested calling up Miranda now. What if we called Miranda? That way you could talk to her but wouldn't have to do it alone. Cobb brightened up, the concerned furrow in his brow, which had taken root when Miranda first called, eased.
Well,
that could work. Terry, are you up for it? She made a noise that wasn't a word, but nevertheless conveyed her hesitation and worry. But she brought it to a close with a decisive exhalation, as if pushing all negative thoughts from her body. Alright, I'll do it. Cobb nodded. Now that you'd received approval from everyone, you pulled out your phone and called Miranda. You set it to a speaker and waited for her to pick up. Luckily she did.
Hi.
Jamie? Her voice was still distant, as if her thoughts were elsewhere, but it was loud enough for your needs. Hi, you're on speaker. Terry's on speaker too. On Cove's phone. Oh. She paused as she digested this information. You watched the phone screen, hoping that she wouldn't hang up as a result.
Really?
Yep, it's really me. Can you hear my voice all the way from your house to theirs and then mine? I can. You and Cove exchanged looks, waiting for the wall between them to break and wondering who would be the one to do it. I don't know, this feels like eavesdropping. Like, should we like leave the room or something? I don't know, like let them call each other. As the quiet dragged on, you caught Cove chewing his cheek. He must have weighted up the same question as you, whether to encourage the conversation along or leave Miranda and Terry to resolve it themselves. The answer came in the form of one sniff, followed by another from Cove's phone.
Sorry.
Randy, I hope you still like me. How are they not 8-year-olds? Like, what? You were the one acting as if you didn't like me? Though her tone was defensive, no doubt a result of her wounds from last night still being raw. No way, everyone likes Randy. You're wonderful. Your eyes met Cove's. His phone was tilted towards you, capturing the call indirectly. You move your phone closer to his, hoping that the signal was strong enough to convey every nuance of tone. Cove did likewise, bringing himself right next to yours, even bumping against it as he shifted his grip. I didn't know what to say. That's the only reason I wouldn't talk to you. If I hadn't known the answer, I'd have told you right away. Miranda murmured on the other end of the line. You didn't want to stay. Anything I tried to do bothered you, and you could have told me you didn't know. Yeah, I think I was angry at myself. I did a dumb thing and I didn't want help with it. I wanted to be mad and just deal with it myself. It made me keep doing dumb things. Oh. This is so dumb. When she spoke again, her voice was quiet, as tender and vulnerable as the words.
I'm sorry.
Staying up late watching stuff was all my fault. What the fuck is this drama about? They're watching fucking movies and then feel like going home. I don't. So stupid. Like the last time I remember this kind of situation was like when I was in elementary school. Maybe. Also, don't they all live in the same fucking town or something? I don't know. Maybe they don't. Maybe some of them live in the city or something. Anyway, I'm sorry for being so pushy and sensitive. Hardly, Miranda echoed, having a flaw? I've never heard of such a crazy thing. Miranda let out a ghost of a giggle. Cove cleared his throat. Maybe you should call each other now? Sorry, can do. Thanks for giving me the kick in the butt to do this already. Randy Mandy, I'm gonna call you right now. She hung up after squeezing in another quick bye, though not giving you a Cove room that is responding kind. Miranda laughed, the noise tinkling gently like wind chimes in a summer breeze.
You're really nice.
Thank you for listening and helping. I'm gonna hang up now so I can answer Terry's call. Bye. Miranda hung up, still chuckling softly as your call ended. The room felt emptier without the other voices in it. Cove expelled a sigh that crashed through a newly fallen silence. He dropped his arms to his sides, letting his head hang down like a puppet at rest. Thank God, it's over. I know, right? Let me see. The day's events had drained you. I am completely drained by this. Cove scratched at his face, his expression cloudy. I think, what does that even mean, having a cloudy face? I think I need to find better ways for dealing with conflict because that was awful. I think this was okay. I think this ended up okay. I think you did okay, yeah. Cove meekly smiled as he rubbed at his eyes, weariness creeping over him, and mumbled his next words. We can talk about it another day. Conflict resolution methods? Huh? No, forget it. Your brows rose and then a light bulb went off in your head. Before Miranda called, didn't you say there was something you'd wanted to say? Cove's original visit had been thrown off kilter, and it was a struggle to wind your memory back to when he'd first turned up. Yeah! This game is supposed to be about Cove and the main character, or the player. And here we are, having calls about like some stupid shit, about some sleepover, and inability to have conversations. Also, this just reminds me of like people who like, you know, there's like those videos where it's like red flags and green flags in people, and one of them is like disappears for a few days, and I'm like, is that not normal? Like some people need that space. It's really odd that people have such drastic reactions when not hearing about it, like hearing from each other for like a day. It is just a day, right? Right? I don't know. This is stressing me out a little bit. Let's move on. You remember that he had been perky when he'd arrived this afternoon? Was it good news? Cove brushed his hands against his now folded arms shyly. Well, yeah, maybe. I'm not exactly sure if it counts as news or even good. It just is what it is. I'm happy about it though. You're curious, but you didn't want to push Cove. If he didn't want to speak about it. You don't have to say anything, but if it makes you feel good, I think it is good news. Cove chuckled awkwardly, a hand creeping up the ruffled hair on the back of his head. It's fine. If you wanna hear, I can tell you. He shifted on his feet, as if a different posture might give him the support he needed for the conversation. What the okay. Okay, the mood swings are just gonna continue from one topic to entirely to another. What the fuck? I didn't want to make it a big deal, but I kind of... Well, not kind of, I just know what my sexuality is now. What the fuck? Oh, what the fuck is going on? I didn't remember this. Oh, a real subject change, huh? He chuckled, sure it was unexpected, but you were excited that Cove had come to understand himself more. I'm glad he wanted to share that with you. That's great. Tell me more. Cove drew a breath, straightening up. I'm demisexual, so you know, most of the time I don't really have those kind of feelings, physical ones and stuff. It's only in some situations when I'm already really emotionally and romantically connected to someone that I start to even think about ending sexual, and it's only with them. Cool. I hadn't heard the term until pretty recently, and it just made a lot of sense. Once I knew what that meant, I had a word that fit how I felt. I remember many years ago on Tumblr, I stumbled upon the term demisexual, and I did have a similar kind of experience with that. And we've been talking with my friends who also like find themselves on that like spectrum. Like we talk about these experiences, but this just comes so randomly. It also feels like lines straight up from like some youth books, like teenager books. Which starts to make me think, makes me wonder, is this game made for innocent teens? Maybe I'm a little off the target audience. Possibly. Let me blow my nose.
Yeah.
And I'm pan-romantic, because I've never had a preference for a specific gender or anything, so yeah. This is interesting, and these are the like these different labels Cove gets throughout the game. I kind of relate to most of them. It's interesting. That makes sense. Cove looked down at the floor, being so open and direct about a matter that personal, which you were sure he'd spent a long time trying to figure out, seemed to be kind of weird for him. Despite that, there was a small, proud smile on his face. When he looked up again, his gaze was steadfast. That's really nice to know. Have I ever pushed you or made you feel uncomfortable? So does that mean you're thinking sexual things about me? You felt proud about your boyfriend too? I mean, we did make the decision to play this game, like, going in strong, right? Right? Like, Jamie pushes things on, right? So, let's go with the middle option. Cove flushed and frowned. Equally hard at the statement, he struggled to get out a response. Yeah. What kind of thoughts? Jamie, you don't need to ask that. You weren't sure that was true, but couldn't help chuckling at how bashful he was. And no matter what, you wouldn't be getting a more explicit response than that right now. The topic was dropped. All this talk of Cove's sexuality made you reflect about your own. Alright, it's gonna be like self-reflection time. Your feelings on yours haven't wavered. Your view that had evolved since you were younger. Let's just stay the same. Jamie is a stable guy. Cove had known for years now. It was heartwarming that he had reached a point where he felt similarly capable of discussing his own. You felt even closer. I mean, I thinking about it, if they have been in a relationship since middle school and then they're like 4 years apart in the development of their identity, it could be a little straining for the relationship, I could imagine. I remember once like hearing that therapy puts many relationships into a crisis mode, especially if only one of the people goes through therapy, because they start like growing and dealing with shit and then the other one doesn't, so they can become like this imbalance, I've heard. It's been a long time since I had that conversation, but it makes sense. Anyway, now everything was neatly wrapped up. You'd had some good talks and come out of it not only knowing each other better but yourself too.
Hey.
We should probably head downstairs soon if your moms are still wanting everyone to get together. What is gonna happen? Because I don't remember. With a renewed spring in your step, you led the way out of your room. You got downstairs to find the others already assembled and waiting.
Hi.
Hey.
Here we are trying to corral everyone into a group, but the two of you were just upstairs this whole time. Of course we were together. You paid Jamie to stick with me, or did you forget? So we did tell about this already. Ouchie. Ouchie. That's the statement was meaningless to your family, who looked at each other for answers in vain. Mr. Holden, who got the message loud and clear, seemed embarrassed. He chuckled nervously, rubbing the back of his neck. Ouchie, son. You always know when to remind me of that one. I can't let you leave it down yet. I don't understand why that was such a big deal, but I guess it's fine. It's fine. Let's drink up, guys. Can we hear exactly what the secret is? The suspense is killing us.
Right.
I'd better get everyone up to speed. He held up his hands, palms out, pacifying his audience, or perhaps holding them up as a shield in advance. That first day I met Jamie, I'd been worrying about Cope being alone for the summer.
Well.
There weren't a lot of kids around, and he wasn't exactly the best terms with me at the time. On the best terms. He glanced around at your family, gauging their responses. I felt like this was my one shot, so I kind of offered him $20 to be friends with Cove, and added that he couldn't tell him about it. Damn, he really thought Jamie was cheap. Our price up at $20. That's our worth. That's the worth of our friendship and later relationship. $20. It's nice to have price tags, guys. Liz gasped. Ma was staring incredulously at Mr. Holden, and Ma's eyebrows had retreated to her hairline. You and Cove, already knowing the story, were the only ones unaffected. But after a while I really did honestly forget it even happened. He raised his hands higher, now level with his shoulders. Not a bad idea, you thought. If Mom felt inclined to throw a caution at him, he'd probably manage to block it in time. I know that's bad, but I've had so many grand ideas over the years, it's hard to keep track of all them all. The troubles
Seriously?
these people have are so adorably, I don't know, light. If Mums were less indulgent, the shock had ebbed away to displeasure. Mum's foot was tapping rapidly as she frowned at the next door neighbor, while Ma had her arms crossed over her chest and her lips pursed. I'm sorry, Jamie, and I'm so sorry to your parents too. That was way out of bounds. Is it really? Is it that bad? I don't know. I mean, I can understand Curve being like upset about it, like, are you paying for people to hang out with me? I can't trust if they really want to be my friends, but for other people, I don't know. I don't know. Is it really that big of a deal, especially since it's all in the past now? Don't worry about it. Everything worked out. The moms gave each other that look where they seemed to communicate with eyes alone. Alright, well, that's that then, and it won't happen again.
Apps.
Alright.
I don't know why they would have. I mean, it would be a funny joke if for example during Christmas or birthday they'd receive a $20 every time from like Cope's dad. That's kind of like making it a reoccurring thing. But who knows? It was a little surprising that they were letting him off the hook. Yay!
In that case,
No, like, it's settled. Why don't we find something to do? Yeah, exactly. We don't have to talk about these things anymore. Notes of agreement cascaded through the group in a couple waves at the suggestion. On stream. Mr. Holden's shoulders slumped with a release of tension. He brought his hands down, tucking them away into his pockets. What about cards? There was a murmur of interest from the others. It was fine. Most of the group was eager to play, but Mr. Holden was demurring.
Nah.
I think I'll sit this one out. What's the fun in that? Join in, we're not too angry with you. Yes, and I know there's a lot of people, but we can make it work. Mr. Holden shrunk into himself, embarrassed by the attention. Dad, you love playing cards. We do it at our house all the time. Mr. Holden broke under the combined force of everyone's attention. Oh, if you're an adult now, you deserve to know the truth. I used to throw the card game so you could win. I put up a good fight, but I always made sure to lose a lot more rounds than I won. He toyed with the end of his ponytail, clearly distressed at the second great secret he was revealing today. Is that really such a big deal? Isn't that what people usually do with kids? Isn't that like a normal thing to do? Like, bruh. What are these big emotions people are feeling in this game? I know people want to be taken seriously and fake wins don't mean as much, but I couldn't help myself. It's so much better when everyone else got the chance to be victorious. Karen knew and went along with it. Cove laughed in disbelief that this was the thing his dad stressed about hiding after the other stunts he'd pulled over the years. So what? Lots of parents do that. Exactly, what's the big deal?
Why?
So, yeah. Just actually, I am something of a card shark. I used to make lots of fast cash of games. Casual players don't have a shot unless it's a game of pure luck. Cove's jaw hung open, his wide eyes fixed on his father. Really? So he has a gambler background. I think that is a worth of like a shock value information. There was I pressed it accidentally. There was a touch of amazement, even admiration nestled among the shock. The other members of the last women exchanged looks, ranging from Liz's disbelief to Mom's intrigue, with Ma somewhere in the middle between the two. You can't simply make a claim like that and expect us to go along with it. Let's see you back it up, Shark Man. Shark Man. Oh, I need to collect myself. Anyway, are you gonna play the game?
Please? Alright.
Let's go. Yay! Liz darted off to get a deck of cards while the rest of you settled in for the game. Hands were dealt. Mr. Holden wasted no time proving his words true, wiping the floor with all of you. You played several rounds, even switching games, but none of you were a match for him. That was how the alliance came to be forged. The rest of you joined forces against Mr. Holden only, just to try increasing the odds of beating him. With your combined efforts, you pulled out a few victories, yet it was still a challenge. He was clearly a professional. If these were his skills now, rusty with disguise, you couldn't even imagine what a deadly opponent he had been in the past. I don't know. If he had like gambling addiction, I don't think it was that jolly of a thing. Despite that, you still had fun. Yay! Working cooperatively, they actually fostered a sense of camaraderie with the others. Mr. Holden didn't appear fazed by this tragedy. You actually wondered whether the increased challenge made it more interesting for him. Yay. That was it. Hell yeah, the first part is done. Yay! Now, the next one, I know for sure we will have more Cove and Jamie action going on. Or just the two of you, two of them, Instead of all these NPCs and stuff like that. I think that we have more quality time with Cove in this one. I'll blow my nose first. Right, okay. Ko pushed himself to his feet from where he had been, bent down in the sand, stretching out his back and groaning softly. A tired breath slipped past his lips as he wiped his brow, looking out over the shore. It looks great. Stood beside him, joining in the surfing of the sand that almost seemed to sparkle beneath the midday sun. The two of you had been out on the beach since sunrise, leading up and down the beach looking for various debris, and the work had paid off. I've always wanted to join like beach cleanups, because the idea of like doing the huge amount of work and then seeing the results of it just feel really nice. I sometimes watch like those channels when people like declutter houses for free, and it's so satisfying seeing the progress where they get all the stuff away and then start like scrubbing all the different surfaces and then it becomes clean. I feel like there would be a similar sense of like satisfaction working like on a beach or something like that. They've like cleared up. Also like this sun shit on beaches. I remember in Japan, at every beach I went to, there was like so much like random plastic things scattered around. It was really weird. Yeah, but it would be really satisfying. Anyway, using a hand to shield your eyes from blinding rays, you glanced across the way where the other volunteers from Orca were gathered. They were easily recognizable by the high-vis vests they wore. High-vis vests? I don't know what that looks like. It looked as though everyone was about ready to wrap things up for the day. I'm happy to see it in a better state. It was pretty sad looking when we got here. The beaches of this town were practically your own personal backyard, and you visited them a lot. It felt good knowing that you were helping to take care of them. Too bad not everybody sees the joy in putting trash where it belongs. Oh well. Also, like, it's not always only people like littering the beach itself, like directly, it's also like the things that wash up from the sea, right? You had begun to realize during your time volunteering for the organization how seriously Ko took his service. It was easy to see that it was something important to him. Yay! I guess we are gonna enjoy the work, but mostly wanted to have a good time. Do we want to be equally invested? Let's be less invested. Let's just enjoy the work. Being part of an organization like Orca meant you got to meet different people and go to all sorts of places you might not have had the chance to usually.
Not bad.
You did a nice job today. It's been a good year so far. It's crazy to think that it's already time to push the big event. You let out a big breath, thinking of the formal dinner that Orca organized every year. Being a completely fundraising focused event for large donors, it was crucial for the organization's projects in the year to come. You had to be over 18 to attend, so this was your first opportunity to actually see it in person. All you had heard about it so far was that it was a prim and proper occasion with speeches and everything. You didn't know what else to expect from it, so you weren't a part of the group who planned the evening. Before the big night came around, the volunteers would have to sell the tickets for it, and that's where you'd be helping. I am excited to go. You rocked back and forth on the balls of your feet as you thought of the glitz and glam of the evening. Bob nodded, but something about his smile seemed strained. I'm glad you are. I just don't feel excited about attending a super formal meal with proper etiquette and stuff, you know. Oh, I feel you so much. It's so difficult to, like, I don't know, I really dislike any formal meetings or any formal places. It's really uncomfortable, and I just can't. I just feel like I always like end up breaking the etiquette. I just don't need. I just can't. So I just usually don't go to things like that. He threw his arms out to the side, making a bit of a show of how ridiculous it seemed to him. I've got sand all over my room, and only one nice shirt I can go And I can go barefoot pretty much wherever I can. I'm gonna be so out of place. Right, I bet you'd rather stay out here. Let's go with that, I guess. All of these are a little off. These answers here. This is where you really belong, not in white collar society. He chuckled a little and gave you a sidelong glance. You know me too well. A small beeping nose came from Ko's pant pocket and he pulled it out and glanced at the screen.
Huh?
It's the organizers. They've sent a text to the group. Time to call it a day here. Ready to head out to our next activity? Cove tucked his cell away eagerly, turning to you. Let's head over and drop the trash bags off at the trucks. Then we can drive back and join the ticket team. You've got to be there pretty soon to relieve them. I think this is gonna be also, like, I don't know if this is gonna be shorter, but I feel like this feels shorter, this chapter, I feel like, because there's like, if I remember correctly, the structure is gonna be like, we have this beach thing which is ending now, and then we're gonna have like ticket booth, and then we're gonna just change our clothes and then have the evening thing. So it's gonna be like, it's not gonna have like 5 different conversation topics here and like bazillion different like things like in some of the other chapters. And also just Cove and us, I think. I wanna hope. It would be a full day of work, but it was Orca's largest event of the year, and all hands were on deck to make sure it was a success. You notched your shoulder against Cove's. Why not? He chuckled and nudged you back playfully with his now free hand. You collected the trash bags spread along the way together, heading across the beach to hoist them into the trucks before heading off to the next job. Cove slipped his warm hand in yours, and you intertwined your fingers, strolling back to the car side by side. The drive back to your neighborhood and making your way to the shopping street was fairly quick, though Cove stressed a little bit about being late. Luckily, he was able to find a parking spot nice and close to where you needed to be. You jumped out of the car and quickly went towards where you knew the group would be. Finally reaching the stall that was set up to sell tickets, you stopped for a moment to catch your breath. There was quite a flurry of activity. It would be your job for the rest of the afternoon to help sell tickets for the fundraising dinner, and looking around the street you saw that there were plenty of potential buyers out today. That would hopefully help them move the tickets along. The stall itself was simple, a portable table with a few plush sea animals and decorations, and a banner stuck across the front. There were 2 volunteers who were already packing and getting ready to head off to the beach. They gave both of you a friendly smile as you arrived. Volunteer 1 doesn't even have a name. Hey Curve, Jamie, how'd things go at the beach?
Not bad.
It was good. The place is looking great. We're lucky to get a 2 for 1 when it comes to you guys. Curve cleared his throat awkwardly from beside you, and you noticed his cheeks flushing pink. Here we go again. Yay, we're an item. Woohoo. You shrugged it off there, teasing rubbed you the wrong way. That's right, that's us, because Jamie's going strong on this. We're joined at the hip, some might say. The volunteers chuckled and packed up the last of their stuff, and Cove seemed to relax a little more. The volunteers made room for you and Cove behind the table while they circled around to the front of it. I'll save the game, by the way, in case it crashes, because I'm kind of paranoid about that. Thanks for coming out in a shift. We'd better make this quick so we can head off to the next place. We're ready for whatever is needed. One of the volunteers handed you a clipboard with all the details needed to sell tickets, while the other tossed a set of keys to Cove, which he caught with ease. These are the money box in the supply kit. Make sure to keep them on you at all times, which this reminds me of a time when I was in middle school. It was one of the first jobs I did. I was a volunteer worker for this queer movie festival, which is like the most queer experience a teenager can have. Anyway, there's like picture of me in a flannel with a beanie on, selling tickets. This kind of reminds me of it. Yeah, there was also like the money box and supply kit and the tickets and all that shit. Good memories, good memories. Maybe next year also volunteer. It would be fun because you get to watch free movies, or at least you get like a massive discount when you're like volunteering there. Aside from handling the cash for the tickets, there's also a form on the clipboard for the guests to fill in their info. That way, we know how many tickets we've sold and who will be attending the event. There's a small script beneath that if you get stuck, or what to say, and that's about it. Pretty simple, huh? I think we've got this. Satisfied that you knew what you were doing, the volunteers said their goodbyes and started walking away, leaving you and Curve to manage the stall alone. The keys jingled in his hand as Curve waved them off, before he stuffed them into the back pocket of his pants for safekeeping. Once the volunteers were out of sight, Curve dropped down into a chair behind the counter with a sigh. We made it here just in time. It's cool we traded places with nothing happening. They might have been late getting to cleanup duty. He leaned back in his seat, getting fully comfortable in the space, and gave you a small smile. You took the other seat, because I ain't standing. It was just a simple plastic chair that squeaked when you sat on it, but it gave you a good view on the street. Most importantly, my back will not hurt from standing. We got things under control. Yay! Let's return his smile. Let's have a nice couple moment here. It had been a bit of a mad rush to get here, but everything had turned out alright in the end. Hope rummaged around the station a little, picking up a stuffed toy orca and holding it up in front of his face. You had to admit it was pretty cute, with its big bulging eyes and oversized flippers. Setting it back down on top of the table, Cole moved on to check out the rest of the stall, finding a cooler stashed beneath the table. When he pulled it out and opened the lid, you could see that it was filled with half-melted ice cubes and about half dozen of bottles of water, which is confusing to me. Like, aren't they supposed to be like saving the ocean, but then they have like they have like a shit ton of plastic bottles. Grabbing one of the plastic bottles, he unscrewed the cap and took a long drink. He watched the condensation running along the side and onto his fingers. Like, why are you, like, I don't know, it just feels like it goes against the policies of people who, like plastic bottles are pretty bad, right? And the caps too. So it feels like a little contradictory for them to be using a lot of plastic bottles like this, but it's fine. It's fine. Do you want one? He set his water on his side of the table before pulling out another, holding it out towards you. As a true environmentalist, I brought my own. You brought a reusable bottle. Hell yeah! From the bag you had brought with you. I set it on the table with easy access. The two of you got settled in easily, and he took the chance to look over the paperwork on the clipboard. Cove joined you, leaning over your shoulder to get a better look. Seems like pretty standard stuff, he muttered, and he nodded quietly. It had general info about the event and the work you needed to do at the stall. Blah blah. Blah blah. Cove seemed content to be there, and he was sure that the afternoon would pass by quickly. Can it please pass by quickly? You were feeling anxious. It was time to do customer service. That's too real. We are being a Jamie. This game is to make fantasies real, and in our fantasies of being a Jamie, we are also good at social interactions. So we psych ourselves up. Yay! This could be your first ticket sale of the day. You had to give it all you had to make sure the event was a success. Hi, how are you doing today? Okay, time passed as the two of you manned the stall, and as people approached your sales pitch, would either have them asking for a ticket or two, or heading off and mumbling maybe next time. All in all, you managed to sell a decent amount of tickets, and you could tell that Cove was happy with the outcome. Yeah, I could never. Yeah, no. Like, I would be content to just sitting behind the stall, maybe reading a book and waiting for people to come. But I just can't. I'm not a salesperson at all. I'm so bad at making money. As the afternoon drifted along, 6 p.m. arrived, time to pack everything up and head home for the evening. Your work with Orca was far from over, but right now there was only one thing left to focus on. Attending the actual event, hell yeah! The days continued on in a normal flow, and before long the night of the Orca fundraising dinner was upon you. It was early evening and you were in your room getting ready as the minutes ticked closer and closer towards the time you needed to leave. Yes. Why would Liz help us? Let's be on a speakerphone with Curve. I don't know. The two of you were chatting as you were getting ready, making sure to keep an eye on the time and not get carried away with the conversation. The event had strict guidelines and you wouldn't be left in unless you were dressed to code. That is so dumb. I remember there was like this news thing about like some chess player who just said fuck it and left the tournament, like because they didn't allow him to wear jeans or something like that. I think that is the correct attitude towards these kind of dress codes. I think dress codes are mostly dumb. Why can we not wear comfortable clothes? That is my question. Why can't we have a little bit of personality there? You know? And then having to find a truly professional outfit, but one that you were also happy with. You wanted to be practical. Oh, let's unshrimp. Well, Jamie is happy to have the chance to dress fancy. There were a couple of outfits that didn't get nearly as much use as you would have liked, and now was the time to show them off. You smiled as you peeked your way through the items, your excitement shining bright. At this rate, you're gonna have a better time picking out your outfit than at the party itself. But whatever you go with, it'll be great. Yay! I never thought I'd see the day when Cove Holden would encourage me to wear something formal. Let's go with that. A quiet chuckle came from your phone and you smiled at the sound. Yes, this is really a once-in-a-lifetime event. Take a deep breath to refocus yourself. You looked over the options one last time. It was time to decide an outfit, and quick! And we go with... What does a blouse look like? These are the like clothing vocabulary is not my strongest suit, okay? In any language. Let me see a blouse. Blouse. Like a loose shirt. Okay. I'm not sure. Let's go with a button-down shirt and pants. But that sounds like it'd be totally fine. I'm wearing the same type of thing. Are they gonna match outfits? I had this one friend, we were going to Fukuoka with my friend. It was more like a friend's friend I went to Fukuoka with back in Japan. And I remember before the trip he was like, do you want to match outfits with me? I was like, what do you mean? Isn't that like a couple thing? But for some reason it was like normal for him, which like I've met a few Australians in Japan and all of them were quite outside of the norm, or maybe a standard Western person, I guess. I don't know, maybe Australians do have very different social norms. But then we were like sending messages like, okay, I'll wear this and that. And then the person ditched me in Fukuoka. We reached there and we just didn't hang out at all. Like I was mostly just alone going around and he was just busy making new friends. It was pretty uncool, but I was a little bit upset with that. But it was really weird. I've never matched outfits with anyone, but for some reason he was like, hell yeah, let's do that. And I was really conflicted at that point. I was like, what does this even mean? What does it signify that he wants to match outfits? But I heard like from other people like that he does with everyone, so I don't know. It's it was fucking odd. Anyway, you quietly assessed your outfit. You thought about adding an accessory or two. Yeah, let's do that. Rummaging through the rest of your wardrobe, you picked out what you need to complete your outfit. Let's have a pair of earrings and a button vest. Isn't that like the cool kind of vest? The nice looking one? Yeah, that was everything. Let's go with that. I personally like vests. I think they're aesthetically very pleasing. Lab ready to go. Finally you were dressed. It had all come together. And now they start playing the track I don't like. It's fine, it's fine. It's cool. Okay, just gonna change my shirt and then I'll be at the car. See you in a minute. Carefully headed down the stairs and into the living room where your moms were waiting for your appearance. As you entered, they both stood from the couch and came over to you, smiling broadly. You look wonderful, Jamie.
Nice.
And very mature too. Nice work, kid. They continued to coo and fuss over you until you managed to brush them off. Ma took Mom by the hand and held her close, the two of them admiring you proudly. Thank you. It felt a little strange to have everyone's attention on you, but you liked it nonetheless. Lee smiled at you from where she stood, her expression soft. Ma came in to give you one last hug, and before you knew it, another pair of arms was wrapped around you, and then a third. Both Mom and Liz giggled as they hugged you tight. We hope you have so much fun tonight. Is this... I don't know, I like... This kind of family life is so foreign to me. It's like, I'm constantly having like culture shocks about it, but I guess this is like a healing, safe environment game. I guess I could recommend this to any troubled queer people who need healing experiences through video game format for a healthy growing up environment.
Have fun.
We won't wait up for you. Stay out as long as you need. You're old enough now. Yeah, that should be obvious. Let me blow my nose. Okie dokie. Let's go. You left your family and approached the front door. It was time. Stepping out into the night, you closed the door behind you gently and looked out across the street. Cole was standing there in the street. His eyes met yours immediately, as if he'd been watching your house for the moment you would come out. He smiled bashfully. Hi, Jamie. Hi. I hope you're ready to do this. He took the chance to check over his outfit as he walked across the way to meet you. It was formal for sure, though didn't feel overly posh. It made sense for him, and was honestly a sight for sore eyes. He was always beautiful to you. I am having problems with the haircut though, and the eyeglasses. I am gonna make sure that the adult version of Cove pleases my eyes. I care about aesthetics, guys. I am a plain person. I care about aesthetics when it's a video game about fantasies, which is like, in this case, I guess, a perfect relationship between Jamie and the Cove. And it includes aesthetics. Nah. With a growing smile, he stepped closer, his cheeks reddening all the way down to his neck.
Thank you.
For coming with me and for dressing really nicely for this. Your outfit, it's just perfect. Damn, Cove, you're so hot right now, you said flirtatiously. Cove hung his bright red face in embarrassment right after that. He wrapped his arms around his torso bashfully, as if trying to protect himself and the outfit from further teasing. Come on, Jamie. You laughed at the reaction. Then he shook his head, glanced back towards the garage, and throwing a thumb over his shoulder, he spoke. We should probably get going. Wouldn't want to be late for such a grown-up event, right? Is this how teenagers speak? Is this really how Like, are they like, what is this? A grown-up event? Do they actually talk like that? What? I've grown in a completely different environment. Anyway, let's go. You headed over the Cope's car together, hopping in and strapping on your seatbelts. What the fuck? Yeah, I know, right? What the fuck? They're supposed to be like 18. They have like driver's licenses and all that shit, and they do look like they have like this pretend, like kid-like play pretend of grown-ups. It's really weird. This is all so weird. What the fuck? You were on your way. Yay. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I grew up like in the very depressed bubble of people. Like a lot of my friends are people who grew up really fast. So I don't know. Is this supposed to be like the healthy speed of development where you still talk like this at this age, or what is this situation? What is the situation? The event was being held at a place you had never been to before. You brought up the location on your phone to help Curve navigate there. It took some time to find the right address, and once there you were met with the task of finding a parking spot. Like, I don't know, I feel like most people, based on media, like most 18-year-olds are like already talking about finances and like most of their like topics that to discuss are like politics and finances and government cuts and I don't know, like how they're not gonna manage next month because they can't pay rent, and I don't know, it's like I live in that kind of bubble where everyone is just like financially struggling and very aware of things and like have to worry about these things. Like, these people just their life is so easygoing that their big event is playing pretending grown-ups at like some little evening dinner. I don't know, it's it's like a completely different world. But yeah, I guess this game's all about having like a very happy and healthy environment, I guess. I mean, if you live like in Haven kind of family situation where everything is like bubbly and nice and sweet and colorful, and the biggest trouble you have is like one person not wanting to stay for a sleepover, I guess the outcome is this. They were on time. It seemed like everyone else had already showed up and claimed the places. Eventually you found a suitable place before realizing that it required payment. Oh. Covered the amount, taking a ticket from the machine and leaving it on the dashboard of the car. I was like, what the fuck? Where did they get all this money? Like, how do, like, these parents, they live in like a maybe it's the tourism. It's the tourism. If they live in like a very tourist area, maybe that's how they make a lot of money. But I still feel like, is it really that lucrative? Like, these kids have so much money. Eventually found a suitable place. Yes, they have money to buy in everything in this game. Oh, anyway, despite the small holdup, you managed to ultimately make it to the event and confirm you were on the guest list before being shown into the dining area. Co whistled low as he looked around. That was my attempt of whistling. It's a thing. When I was a kid, I had like 3 things I wanted to learn to do. One was like make like balloons, or whatever you call it, like when you eat bubble gum, making bubbles with gum. Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to learn. Then the other one is like making this sound with your fingers, snapping fingers. And the third one was learning how to whistle, but I just never got around to doing that. I remember throughout the years, every once in a while I remember this fact and I feel sad about it, and then I go watch like some video of like how to whistle, but I just don't learn. Maybe I'm just anatomically just not able. It's like I just don't have the right the right structures. That's copium. I just don't know how you produce whistling sound. Anyway, taking in the extravagance of the room. Chandeliers hung from the ceiling and the entire place was decked out with beautiful oceanic displays. You were stunned yourself. It was extremely high class, even more so than you had already expected. You didn't I don't feel like commenting. You simply looked around at all the lights and crystals everywhere. It's also interesting, like, this is supposed to be like, they're supposed to work for like sea life, right? Like keeping the sea unpolluted and care about the welfare of the creatures that live in the sea. But then they have like big aquariums. They hold like these animals in aquariums, which is like, I think, pretty inhumane. But I don't know, maybe it's for this is like a research facility. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of these kind of like contradictions, but maybe I don't know. Anyway, people approached us both in greeting and giving us a welcoming smile and a hello. Leader 1. Cove, Jamie, we're glad to see you could make it, especially after all the hard work you've done to help make this night happen.
Of course.
Definitely, I wasn't gonna miss it. Yay! Hi. It was nice to see some familiar faces and feel so accepted here. I don't know if formal events are the places where you feel so accepted, but it's fine. It's fine. You're our best power couple, that's for sure. What the fuck? You're always welcome to participate in more activities when they come up. Cove let out an awkward, breathy laugh and rubbed at the back of his neck. Good to know. Cove struck then, eyes darting around the place with an awkward look.
So...
Guess we should talk to more people then, and there isn't much else to do at an event like this. You found your way into groups of people who were standing around chatting while some light music played in the background. Servers with large silver trays were gliding between the guests, offering drinks and canapes. Cove was clearly hesitant to actually approach people, but was able to respond when various people greeted him first. I relate. You were enjoying talking to so many different people. No, I was not. Or maybe, yeah, no. Jamie does. Jamie's an extrovert. Let's remember, Jamie's an extrovert. He enjoys talking to so many different people, both guests and members of the organization alike, and found himself enjoying the company. The sound of a microphone crackling came from the podium at the other end of the room. Someone who you had assumed must be the host for the evening was asking everyone to sit down in preparation for the meal and speeches. You and Cove looked for your table, finding it easily enough by little name cards that were placed delicately beside the napkins. A few others joined you at the table. Awkward! Though they weren't anyone that you recognized. That's really awkward. I was in a situation like this. Let me blow my nose. Wait a moment. Like last weekend, I attended my previous landlord's and my father's friends and one person in my social group's 50th birthday party. And it was like Eurovision themed. So everyone was wearing like all these funny clothes. And then there was like, it was really a fun party, but there was this one moment where we were like, when you get yourself like a glass, it had like a little tag on it, which was like one flag of country. And then there came like this part of the event where people were like split into groups based on that like marker on a glass. So example, everyone with Estonian flag on their glass would like get together, and then there would be like a little like a quiz about Eurovision song contests. There were like 10 questions, and I remember we like people gathered into their groups, and it was just like this awkward, hello, do you know about Eurovision Song Contest? Not really. Okay, then we're in the same boat, and then just nothing, and just quietly sat there waiting for the thing to start. It was painful. No one said anything. It was just quiet. It was horrible. I hate sitting with people I don't know, and it's just really fucking awkward. Like if there's an event, I tend to usually go there only with other people, and then I just like tag along with them. Like, I don't know, it's kind of sad maybe, but and maybe a little bit pathetic, but that's the only way I can manage through that. The stress is immense. Anyway, the host was still speaking as people were settling, starting off the speeches by giving a welcome to everyone attending. She went on to provide some more information about Orca, which you supposed was for the guests who weren't part of the organization and the purpose of the fundraiser tonight. Orca's goals, as she explained it, were to aid the conservation and restoration of oceans and beaches. There were many people who had helped to make the group as successful as it was. When she read off a list of several volunteers who worked on making the event happen, Kove's name was one of the first to come up. His cheeks flushed with shy pride at that. Your name then came up with a little further down the list. You were smiling from ear to ear at the mention. Good job, Jamie. As she continued to thank the large donors of the event, you checked over at Cove. He was still grinning happily at himself and tapping his fingers over the tops of his knees, pretty pleased to have been mentioned by name. You were excited for him because we are supportive boyfriends. He had worked so hard to make this event happen. It was the least he deserved. While the host continued speaking, multiple servers dressed in black were setting the first course of the menu in front of the guests. One of the servers set down a plate in front of you, and you thanked them quietly before looking over the dish with interest. You recognized the dish as a simple Caesar salad. Is that supposed to be read as Caesar salad? I'm not really sure about that. The host quickly wrapped up the end of their speech, thanking everyone once more before inviting you all to begin your meal. Anyone who had included a special dietary note then signing up for this. What? Included a special dietary note when signing up for the event received a vegan or vegetarian version. There were also small baskets of bread set around the table. We eat both salad and bread because it's free food. No, it's not free, we paid for it. Even more so, we're gonna eat all of it. Ko wolfed down his salad before munching into a breadstick, quickly devouring that as well. I hope the next part comes out soon and is bigger. You could hear him mumbling to himself as he reached over for another piece of bread. He glanced around the table and he followed his line of sight with curiosity, noting that everyone else was still eating their salad. Stopping his hand midair, he quickly pulled back and rested it on his lap without taking another breadstick after all. It was clear that he was starting to feel unsure about himself, and he looked a little out of place here. I feel you, Curve. He folded his arms and turned away from them to you. Hey, did you like the salad? It was pretty bad. It was alright. Let's go with that. I've had better. His gaze remained purposely tunneled on you, as if he was trying not to even think about what the rest of the table might be doing. This is awkward. You picked a breadstick and gave it the Curve. Let's do that, maybe. It's okay. Thank you. Cove spoke gently as he took the bread from your hand, looking choked up by your reassurance. Yeah, either way, you paid for the bread, Curve. You can eat it. It's just bread. He munched away on it happily, seeming much more at ease. It wasn't much longer until the main course was arriving, and the various chicken, stick, and veggie dishes were being served throughout the room. They don't even give us specifics about what we're eating. I was expecting a good. Since you're not real. Oh, ooh. I was expecting we could see the menu, like the whole course. That sure has energy, this doodle. The colors are very intense. But I like it a lot. It has a lot of energy. It's really, really intense. Let's see, we got a vegan dish. What are we reacting to? Cove had gone for the steak, and once he started to dig in, he was completely absorbed by his meal. So what? Why would we let him eat? You focused on your own food. Don't be weird about this. It was going to be a full evening, so you wanted to try eating something while you could. Dinner eventually ended, and last of all was dessert. A dessert, a lemon sorbet that had been partially dyed blue, which I find really odd. Why would you have lemon tasting sorbet that's blue? Like blue, you don't associate blue with lemon sorbet, right? It's supposed to be yellow, right? Right? I don't know. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Anyway, I'm kind of craving lemon sorbet now. The mix of white with bold streaks of blue made the little scoop look like a ball of roaring ocean waves. The effect was very pretty, but the serving size was too small. Perhaps it was the price to pay for artistry. You turned to Cove to find him pouting a little at the size of it. Again, to the dessert, it took him only a few bites to polish it off. Again, the other people around the table had barely even begun eating. Why are we so focused on the speed of people's eating? Can't we just let people chill and like ignore this part of this whole thing? An unimpressed air settled over him as he sat back in his chair, sipping his water unhappily. We can get more dessert later. Yeah, we can stop by the store or something, you know? He looked up to you sheepishly, embarrassed to have been caught sulking over such a thing. He fumbled for defense. I mean, I would also be bummed if I paid a lot of money and the dessert was small. Like, I expect big portions, I guess. There's like, at least once, at one point there was a restaurant, like this buffet restaurant in Helsinki, that where you paid food for the way of it, so you could decide on your own portions and what you had there, and I think it worked pretty well. Also in Japan it was lovely that in many places you could decide like how much food you would like to eat, like decide on your own portions. For example, like how many grams of rice you'd like to have, or noodles or something like that.
I mean,
it was just really good, that's all, and now it's gone. But I'm okay. With a slight grin, he shrugged to show that he was really fine. I used to be a really quick eater when I was younger. Like, I would eat so fast, and then it became a little bit of a problem. I was unhappy with it because I was like, I can't enjoy this food because it's just gone so soon. But I didn't know what to do about it. I tried a lot of things, but what finally worked was much later when I got together with my ex. They are very slow at eating, and with them, when we ate together, I learned to eat very slowly, and now I have become a slow eater. And I didn't even realize how slow I am until like I was eating with my father, who is also like a very quick eater. I remember we were eating like some donuts or something, and he had eaten the whole thing when I had just taken like maybe 2 bites, and I was like, oh, I really have gotten slower. And I think it's like, for me it works better because I have like, sometimes I have problems with reflux and stuff, but it's also like, I don't know, it is a little inconvenient though nowadays, because sometimes I'm in a hurry to go somewhere, but I'm not able to rush eating. Like if I do, I start feeling like my stomach is upset and all that shit. It's really, odd, this change. Just came to my mind. Anyway, why does this game bring up this fact? It's pretty odd. Would you like a bite of mine? You scooped up a spoonful of your sorbet and offered it to him, holding a hand beneath it to avoid any drips. His eyes widened as he eyed the dessert hungrily, surprised by the offer. Recovering quickly, he leaned forward over the table, lifting out of the chair a little as he ate the treat from his spoon. As he sat back, humming happily with his mouth full, you couldn't help but smile at the sight. He swallowed the fork's ocean and let out a satisfied sigh. Even though it wasn't that much more, the simple fact that he had gotten more hit the spot.
Thanks.
You were pleased to see he was perkier, and you went back to eating the rest of your dessert. Another person from Orca got up on stage to make a speech as everyone was nearing the end of their meal. They spoke mostly about the individual projects that the organization was working on and their plans for the near future, as well as encouraging anyone who was interested to consider volunteering. Cove bent forward over the table with his chin balanced on a hand, listening attentively to the words. This sounds incredibly boring, this event. As they came to a conclusion and everyone gave them a round of applause, Cove caught your eye and smiled. You wondered what would happen now. And then the lights dimmed. A couple of spotlights came on, projecting a water-like effect around the room. The guests gushed over the ambience, and you looked around with wide eyes at the ripples on the walls. The DJ, that had previously been playing some soft mood music in the background, announced that the floor was open for dancing, slowly turning the volume up so it drifted through the space. When he glanced at Curve, his eyebrows shot up and he mumbled quietly.
Huh.
I didn't know there would be dancing. I guess it makes sense now that I think about it. Wait a moment. The runny nose just doesn't end. It just keeps on running. My nose. It runs off my face soon, I feel like. He gave an awkward laugh as you both watched as people rose from their seats. It was clear now that many of the donors were couples. How lovely. We skipped a bit. A small crowd had started to form on the dance floor, and the DJ played a romantic song to get everyone started off. Cove let his gaze float over the small sea of guests who were moving under the floor, his hands twisting in his lap as his lips pulled into a tight line. And then with a breath and the lift of his hand, he turned to you. Wow! Wanna dance with me? Of course I do. Ooh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Ooh, I wanna dance with somebody. With somebody who loves me. His face lit up. You could tell even beneath the dim light. Accepting Cove's outstretched hand, you rose from your seat together and stepped out onto the floor. When you had found a spot for yourselves amongst the other guests, you turned and faced him standing close. Cove gave you a small smile as you looked up at him. I don't know how to dance. Not for real. What do you mean? I think we should start like throwing up best breakdance moves right here, right now. I think that would be so cool. If you now just broke into like some, I don't know, cool fucking moves. He admitted with a slight squeeze to your hand and a sheepish look. You gave him a reassuring grin and nudged a little closer to him still. It's okay. I know. Does he though? Does Jamie know how to dance? With a familiar face full of affection, he let go of you and raised his arms to slide both of his hands behind your neck. You wrapped your arms around him in response. Together you gently swayed to the music, moving your feet in time to the delicate beat. Oh wait, how does it go? I wanna dance with somebody. lyrics. In the Eurovision Song Contest 50-year birthday, we got home with like this karaoke taxi, and people wanted me to sing I Wanna Dance with Somebody there. It was a lot of fun. Karaoke taxi is such a great invention. You just sing songs in a big in a big bus looking thing. Clock strikes upon the hour and the sun begins to fade. Still enough time to figure out how to chase my blues away. Then I'll ride it up till now. It's the light of day that shows me how. And when the night falls, my loneliness calls. And then we go. Ooh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna feel the heat with somebody. Ooh, I wanna dance with somebody. I wanna imagine that this is playing on the background. It was just nice being here like this, in each other's arms. You didn't have to worry about whether you knew the right steps or not. There was always a way to make it work between the two of you. How lovely. Cove leaned his head in near to yours, his forehead so close to yours that they almost touched. How touching. His breath was warm as he let out a contented sigh, tickling your skin. You really do look so good tonight. You're such a gorgeous guy. The fuck? Do people actually say this kind of shit to each other? I don't know. You're such a gorgeous guy. I mean, I guess someone could say that. James and Cove says such things. It's fine. You smiled widely, feeling your cheeks hotter at the compliment. Have you had a nice time? I hope you did. Let's drink. Jamie feels like he doesn't want to answer, so he leans in and kisses him. His eyelids fluttered closed as your lips met in a soft kiss, and when he pulled back, he smiled at you gently. His bright eyes stayed locked on yours, studying you with unmistakable adoration. Thank you for staying. You're still here. Just like you promised you would be. Why would we leave? Why would we just leave, like disappear from here? Your heart felt light as you continued to sway whilst holding your most beloved person. So glad to be able to share a moment like this with him. A lot has happened, huh? You nodded faintly. You weren't sure if he meant just today, this summer, or your entire time knowing each other. But it really didn't matter. It was true either way. Thinking back on the years that you and Curve had been neighbors, it was difficult to even try to reflect on it all at once.
I'm so glad.
He ended up here. He gave you a soft look and he beamed, knowing that could also mean many things. But from his tone, you were certain he didn't only mean here, at this event. It was more than that. You're amazing. I think we have to tell your dad thanks. I think that's appropriate reaction. Probably. Holy moly, you loved him. Fully and completely, you did. His smile widened and he pressed his body against yours, resting his head into the crook of your neck, stroking the back of your head with his fingers. This is too much touching for me. Tightened your grip on him and let your head fall against his shoulder. As the night drifted on, you held each other tight, swaying to the music as if you were the only ones in the room. Ooh, I wanna dance with somebody. Go was sweet the entire time, his warmth brushing against your skin as he whispered words of affection into your ear. I don't know, this is a little too much maybe. I don't know, I feel somehow, I guess, bashful about this now. He was extremely good at making you feel special. You couldn't have hidden your blissful smile, even if you wanted to. The party eventually started to wind down, and last came to an end. When the main lights turned on, you blinked against the brightness of them, making sure you still had curve in your sights. One final speaker came up to the podium on the stage, thanking all the guests for coming and wishing everyone a good night. It was bittersweet to see it come to a close. Your time with Curve here was precious. At least the memories could be brought with you. Giving them space one more look, you walked together with Curve out of the parking lot. The other guests were doing the same, so you got stuck in a bit of a crowd. Though Curve was so tall you could always see him, and it was easy enough not to get separated. I don't know, this seems kind of empty. I don't see that many people here, but I guess they're invisible. The parking lot itself was quite big and even more noticeable now with fewer cars blocking the view. It took a little while to actually locate Cove's car across its expanse. Yeah, maybe the car also turned invisible, I don't see it. Eventually found it, and the two of you bundled inside the vehicle and buckled up. The trip home was quiet, and you both silently reflected back on the experience. The event had just been the biggest night of the year for Oka, and now it was all over just like that. Outside the window, the surroundings soon became familiar and you found yourselves back in your neighborhood. Hope pulled the car into his driveway and put it in park before letting out a relieved breath. Home sweet home. Yay! After climbing out of the car, you walked slowly down the road, Hope coming over to stand beside you. You stopped in the middle of the street, right between your house and his, and turned to him, finding him in the process of opening his mouth to speak. Let's save, in case this crashes. Strangely, he clamped his lips together, as though he had suddenly thought better of it. This is kinda awkward. Thank you for taking me tonight. I think that's an appropriate reaction. Thanks for coming with me. Yay! You kissed him good night, let's do that. I mean, they're at that point in their relationship already. Needing to be close again. Before the night ended, you pressed your lips against his in a gentle kiss. He smiled as you were separated, running his fingers over the side of your face.
Night.
Jamie. With a last wispy smile, he left forward towards his front door. Figuring you shouldn't linger in the street for much longer, you crossed the remainder of the road and did the same. When you reached your house, you pulled out your keys and stuck them in the door. Is that how is that an expression? Stuck them in the door. I've never heard that before. I'm learning so much new English, as always. Trying your best to be silent about it. Opening the door a crack, you turned again and looked at Cove from over your shoulder. Your eyebrows lifted in surprise to see he was doing the same, holding his front door open, but waiting for you to go inside before he did. You shared an amused smile before you both stepped into your own houses, locking the door behind you. It was quite late, so everyone else was already asleep. As quiet as a mouse, you tiptoed to your bedroom and changed out of your formal clothes into your pajamas. Now that you were finally home, you felt you were exhausted. You brushed your teeth and got ready for bed in darkness before crawling under the covers and letting out a heavy breath. It was still strange to think about how that was it. The build-up to the event had felt like so much, now it was completely behind you. Your mind was busy with rapid yet muddled thoughts as you faded closer and closer to sleep. An unconsciousness creeped up on you. You felt more content. It was a big deal, but there would be more in the future. You could accept that what it had been, and you could dream about what you'd get to experience next. And then you were taken away from dreams right back into reality by a sound. Your eyebrows pinched together, fully unprepared to be a part of the waking world again. The day was over and it had been an eventful one. And then a serial killer enters, and this becomes a horror game. But you heard another noise. There was a tapping. Your eyes flew open. The window. There was tapping that came from your window. Cove Holden. You went over to let the guy in. You extricated yourself from your bed, yawning. You stretched your arms and then made your way to the window. There was another tap right before you arrived. When you pulled it wide open, Cove was indeed there. I've been listening to, like, I found like this new YouTube channel that like makes documentaries about crimes, and I was listening to like multiple of those before going to sleep. And you know when you sleep well, no, like unwell, you sleep poorly when you're sick. I was sleeping very poorly and just like stuck with the crime scenes in my head, like dreaming about the crimes. I was feeling really disoriented when I woke up. I don't know why I listen, like, it's really interesting, like, why people listen to crime podcasts and, like, true crime things. For me, it's the shock value, but I don't know about other people. I guess it's fascinating to think about, like, the human psychology. Or something like psyche. Anyway, you had not been surprised to find Cove awkwardly crouched on your window ledge. However, you were taken aback to see that he was a little overdressed. Cove hadn't changed out of his formal clothes. You also noticed that he was perched clumsily. You didn't know if it was because he was trying to keep his fancy clothes clean or if he felt weird about something. His body was stiff and awkward. Cove smiled sheepishly. Hi Jamie. Hello Lou, welcome to the stream. Finally caught a stream, yay! Yeah, we still have like maybe 2 hours of playtime today, so you came like at the halfway. How are you doing? Cove has just sneaked in to our room. I'm gonna go with "It's nice to see you, Romeo," because I think that is slightly flirty. You moved aside to let him climb inside. He cautiously stepped down by stretching his legs over. Strangely, he didn't use his hands for support. It was clear to you now he was holding something. When he was safely on his feet, he briefly checked out his clothes, twisting around to see the back of his pants. He caught you looking and shrugged.
I mean...
I did go home after the event, but I knew I wasn't gonna be able to settle down, so I just walked back out. I needed fresh air and time away from everything. He paused for a moment and raised his clasped together hands where you could see them. I'm great, I've been caught up with work, but I'm happy to finally see a stream again. Yay! Woohoo! Myself, my employer has been unable to supply or like provide enough shifts, so I'm going through a like slight economic crisis. Yeah, it would be a good thing to maybe get another job, but where do you get that? Where do you get jobs nowadays, especially when you try to do studies? But I'm happy to see you here. Let me blow my nose. Yeah, also I'm sick, as you can probably see from the title of the video, but I felt like streaming, you know? So here I am, streaming. Yay! I don't know, maybe it's because Danganronpa is finally over, I just feel really at ease. I feel free, not that the game's over, so I can just stream whatever. Anyway, let's see what the stiff Cove is wishing to do. But then something happened and, well, so I have something I wanted to show you. Cove grinned like a child and gently unfurled his fingers. Not being able to keep you in suspense for even a minute. Carefully sitting inside was a tiny yellow light. It blinked off and then on again. A firefly. Delicately, he moved his hand closer so you could see the creature better. They're back! Yes, in winter many people are sick and I have to jump in for them and it's taking a lot out of me, so I'm always happy when I get to see your streams. Oh, lovely. We've still gotta hang out at some point. We still do. you know, I think about it from time to time, but then it's like already really late. And, you know, I want to feel like energetic. So I'm not just like fucking quiet all the time. But we can hang out, you know, we can do that. We can surely do that. I mean, we can do that later today too, sure. He closed his eyes, his smile now faintly illuminated by his insect company. Also, I've been really fucking like busy. For some reason my like schedules, like my evenings are full lately. Like we hang out like all the time now with my friends when we have the chance on Pathfinder campaigns and stuff like that, which is a good thing. My social life has improved significantly, which is a good thing. It's an improvement to life quality, but honestly, I'm just down to chill whenever. Yeah, I do have like, I would like to finish the character design, like the character drawing of my character. I sent a picture of. I know I'm kind of stuck with the hair right now. I don't know what to do with it, so maybe just sitting down and forcing myself to go through it would be good. Yeah. Anyway, they are having a romantic moment here. Remember the first time I caught one? I always will. I could barely manage anything because of the neon pink cast I was stuck with all summer. Have you guys ever seen fireflies? Have you ever seen them in real life? I have not. He was still stunned by what was happening, but couldn't help snickering when the coke did. It was thanks to you that I finally held the firefly in my own hand. I was happy to. When that happened, well, it was just really memorable to me. Honestly, I didn't think I'd see them this year. I don't know why. It's just, they were kind of late, and I guess I've been worrying about a lot of stuff lately. You could tell that the firefly genuinely lifted his spirits, seemed at peace, and he wanted to share that with you. The fact that his first thought after discovering the fireflies was to come over and celebrate the joy with you made you suddenly feel very cherished. Cove opened his eyes, but he looked away, not meeting yours.
It's nice.
I think, even if the fireflies disappear for a while, it doesn't mean that they're really gone. They'll come back. I can see them again! Yay! You waited for him to continue. Let's go with that. Oh, let's smile. Let's smile. Let's be polite about it. And then you looked at the firefly keenly. There was definitely something poetic about them. You felt the warmth in your heart. Cove looked at your face. His smile now fragile. It makes me think about the two of us. We're together. And we say goodbye, and then we're together again. Day after day, year after year, and even if our time apart gets longer, that doesn't make it forever. Jamie, I'll always be there whenever you want to see me. Okay, you're so in love with him, there was nothing else you could think then, and he needed to know. You were so happy to be with him, and he needed to know that. He quietly said his name. I mean, we are Jamie. We are Jamie. We go with bash, like, we are like unfazed. We say cringy stuff. We say things unembarrassed. You were so in love with him. There was nothing else you could think then, and he needed to know, and we go with it. Going strong. Your heart started to pound in your ears, and all you could hear was blood rushing. You looked at Curve and found yourself fixated. The only thing you were aware of was your rapid pulse in him. It's really interesting, like, it's something I've like sometimes thought of asking my friends, but then always forget. It's like, do they actually, like, because those people are like, those friends are actually in love with their partners and stuff. Like, ask them, do they actually feel things this intensely? Because like all these descriptions about all these like big emotions and like hearing heartbeat in your ears and stuff like that, it's like, I don't know, my emotional capacities are so dimmed down that that it's like the closest I can get is by reading like these kind of stories. Then I can kind of imagine, like, recreate bit by bit like the physiological reactions, like imagine them, but like I don't know. Is this just exaggeration? This I remember there was like one time in my life when YouTube was recommending me a lot of these videos, like how love is socially constructed and all that shit, and expectations are wrong. Like, is this really not? Is this all just bullshit? But or are there actually people who feel so intensely all these feelings in these kind of situations? It's baffling to me. Yeah, maybe next time I meet my friends I'll ask them. Everything from that very first night you met him, as just a little kid, from the way he'd always held a special place in your heart, to the first time you saw fireflies together, to the first time he snuck in your room, and then to every moment you shared. All of it came back to you. Cove's expression had turned curious as you left him waiting wordless. He tilted his head in a question, his lips parted to speak, but you went first. These are all basically saying the same thing. Let's go with the last one. I think that's like Jamie. It sounds like Jamie. I love you so much. Let's go with that. With a confession, the world stopped for a second. Cove froze. Oh shit. Then, as your words had turned a faucet, as if your words had turned a faucet, tears began to fall down Cove's cheeks. He suddenly mouthed something, but you couldn't make out the word. Cove. You stepped closer and closer, removing the distance between the two of you. He covered his mouth with a hand. He must have forgotten about the firefly resting there, and it flew off into the night with a twinkle. That is unrealistic. I bet the firefly actually would get stuck in a window that is open. That is more realistic here, but... well, I guess fireworks... fireflies get a good ending in this game. He used his other hand to shakily reach over and interlaced his fingers with yours. He gripped you tightly as he started sobbing harder. Yeah, I don't know, man. I guess there are people like this. Let me Google. Do you guys feel love? The first thing is recommended to me is Reddit. How do men feel love? Maybe I should Google. How does love feel like? Being in love looks different for everyone, but you can count on experiencing bliss, stability, and a lasting connection. Yeah, but like, we're talking about physiological things. The early euphoric feelings result from increases in dopamine and norepinephrine. Okay, let's go to Reddit. Reddit subreddit love. Let's see. Just being comfortable with my partner around. It feels like home. Pain. Just plainly pain. Being at home, only a home I've never been to before. I don't know. This is confusing. I guess a lot of people feel it like in a kind of dimmed way. Then I guess. No. This is a person. I have fallen in love twice and almost a third time, but she got away. For me, it's the most powerful drug I've ever experienced. And I've done a lot of drugs. It's an overwhelming feeling when thoughts are consumed about this person. Everything I see and hear reminds me of them. Okay, I guess there are people like this. Strongly emotional. Interesting. Yeah, I guess there's not really one answer here, truly, but it's just really interesting. It's like, I don't know, I myself, I've never had like that kind of thing going on, but anyway, getting back to game. Let's wipe away his tears. Gently you took your free hand and wiped his tears away. Should we repeat that? Let's repeat it. Cove removed the hand from his mouth and used it to hold the back of your head. You brought your face to him, bending his neck down to be closer to your level, and your foreheads brushed together. His voice trembled, it cracked, and it shook. It was raw, straight from Cove's heart. I love you. He closed his eyes tightly and repeated himself, but now he could say it firmly. I love you. His aqua eyes sparkled when he opened them again. Fresh tears poured out with an outburst of emotion.
Sorry.
Jamie, I'm sorry I can't get it together. What can't you not get together? What? Just, I tried so much to love you quietly, secretly, and that being it, but I really wanted you to feel the same. I wanted you to love me back. I wanted to hear you say it. Have these guys not said it in the past? I guess this is the... it's the first time, I guess. I just kept thinking, what if you didn't? Maybe what I felt was too much and... I didn't know how to handle that. I didn't know what to do. But I didn't want to put any of that on you either. You weren't doing something bad. Everything you do is right and wonderful.
I'm always like this.
Why are you sounding so angry? What the fuck? It wasn't your fault I had to be like that. I'm just... like that. He leaned in closer, hiding his face from view, his lips trailing over to your ear. He whispered, "But you love me. You love me." He moved his head back, so his forehead was centered on yours, and then he closed his eyes. He shook. The hand you still held was trembling. I'm so sorry. I'm really always like this. Let's give him a moment, I guess. Cove used the opportunity to take a few calming breaths. Cove managed to bring a fragile smile on his face. He was still shaking, but there was something decided about him now.
I love you.
Jamie, I love you. He repeated more, as if to make up for all the times he didn't let himself say it before. As he spoke, his tears dried up, and his breathing became more even. The reaffirmation helped him calm down. Thank you for telling me. Cove's smile was bolder, even as his voice wavered and he ducked his head with a childish shyness. He clearly fought against getting emotional again. His watery eyes, his mussed hair, the tears still drying on his cheeks. He loved him so much. Okay, let's see. Should be You're welcome. Let's go with that. Cove held the sides of your face but moved his thumb down to softly brush your lips. It was exciting. Wait! Where is this going now? You wanted to keep... Well, he wanted to keep touching you and you wanted that too. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. What do we do? Jamie's aggressive, right? You pressed him against the wall. Pressed him up against the wall. Then you stepped forward with purpose and pressed your hands against his shoulders. You kept walking. His eyes widened, but he let you lead him, stepping back at the prompting. Cove squeaked when he made contact with the wall. You stared up into his flushed face. How far are they gonna take this? Cove's body was tense, being in such a position, but you knew with complete certainty that it wasn't in a bad way. You could feel one of his knees rubbing against the inside of your leg, encouraged. Wait! I thought this game was safe for work. I thought this was safe for work game. Let's kiss his neck, I guess. You nuzzled up and against him. You could hear his breathing pick up. I can't look at his face. It doesn't fit the picture, so I'm just looking at the text. Let's not break immersion here. You nuzzled up against him. You could hear his breathing pick up. Kissed across the exposed part of his neck. He made a quick gasp and let it out as a long sigh. While you busied yourself over his neck, he reached down to stroke your... Wait, guys, I genuinely thought it was safe for work. Wait a moment. Is our life... Wait. Does our life beginnings always have intimate moments? It's almost certain that fade to black sex scenes aren't something that will be retroactively added to... Wait, what? What? There are no not safe for work scenes in the game. Okay. Okay. Sent you an update on the sketch. I'll look it up. Ooh, it's looking really good. I like what you've done with the mouth. It's really nice. It's looking really, really good. Alright. Meanwhile, Cove. While you busied yourself over his neck, he reached down to stroke your thighs slowly. When is this gonna end? Are we gonna have to go through all of these options? I guess we're gonna run a hand through his hair, I guess. You stayed close to him and used one hand to comb through his hair. He leaned into your hand when your fingers got deeper into his strands. Unshrimp. Cove tilted his head and brought his mouth to yours. Your lips delicately touched, too brief and slight to be a true kiss, but enough to be exciting. You know, we have handled these kind of scenes before. There was the Milky Way Prince, and it didn't fade to black. I have handled this before. I can handle it now. The slight touches were because he was also using his mouth to mumble something, although you couldn't make out any clear words. Let's I mean, let's end it with whispering his name. I think that's like a sweet thing to do. Cove. You said it hushed under your breath and then brought your lips to his ear and repeated yourself longingly. I can't say that. Cove! A shiver went through him and his grip on you tightened. He had to width the ways his knees almost buckled. Satisfied, you pulled away. Let's do that. Let's bring an end to this. There's ever so much I can take. You took a step back from him and tried to settle your pounding heart, your pulse, your breath. Cove. He took a few deep breaths to focus again. He did the same, leaning his head back and covering his eyes with one hand. What is this background music change? What is this? It's totally a mood breaker. Bruh! He was as red as could be expected. Definitely bashful, but honestly he looked plenty pleased. Couldn't help thinking about and how you were certain you wanted to spend your whole life with him, and you told him as much. Yes, because Jamie is going in strong. I hope we get to spend our whole lives together. Cove's expression crumbled again. He wasn't able to tamp down the newest wave of emotion. His eyes watered once more, and he took a few heavy breaths. I hope so too. We could be together always. Have a place of our own. No kids, but also pets. Don't you think so? He laughed brightly. Pets too. You think I'd leave Sonic Speed with Dad? Oh, the fish, right. How long do fish live? It was like a small fish. How long do pet fish live? 3 to 5 years. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's already dead soon. But you know, it's whatever. I'll blow my nose. That was the nastiest nose blowing I've done in a while. Holy moly. Anyway, you felt warm being able to talk about this openly. You liked to imagine the life you could have together, and now you could do it with him. He rubbed at his scarred arm bashfully. You know, I thought having to grow up for real was gonna be so... What? Wait. English. You know, I thought having to grow up for real was gonna be so hard. I didn't know if I even could, but you... Well, maybe it won't be that impossible.
So...
I mean, I'd better make sure it's not, huh? I'm looking forward to it. Finally he was able to laugh softly. The tears were nothing but salty remnants on his cheeks. He brightened up as if finally able to process the absolute joy of the night in full. You felt good too, and took a little more time together to simply exist in the new dynamic you had stepped into. Hope looked into your eyes with a soft, slightly shy expression. There was hope in his smile. Do you want to go to the hill with me? This has been 1.5 hours. I thought this would be like shorter episode, but apparently this is like the longest sequence we've had so far. I bet there's still fireflies. Let's go. Of course we say yes. Cope brightened. He was practically bouncing at the thought of a secret excursion before he suddenly became bashful.
So...
How should we leave? We could just try the door. You don't have to do the window thing, but maybe that bother your family? We both chuckled at how awkward it would be if your moms or worse Liz saw you going on a midnight firefly catching. What is embarrassing about it? What is awkward about it? It's normal to go for our night strolls. You could leave from your window, and that's adventures. That's fun. That's quirky. Let's go through the window. Tom nodded in understanding. You grabbed some shoes and readied yourself for an adventure. You were glad that there was no way you'd run into another soul outside. Cope would be way overdressed, and you were still in your jammies. You let Cope go first. He stepped back on the ledge. As you carefully followed, he shuffled along and soon you reached the garage. You planned to use the fence from there to reach the ground. Cope climbed down the fence. He wobbled once, but made it without an issue. He leaned against the fence and projected hushed words up to where you were waiting.
Are you okay?
Do you want help? Of course we want help. You got to the edge and let Cope spot your descent. He grabbed you about halfway down and brought you to rest firmly on the ground. How romantic, how sweet. Cope gave you an encouraging smile, but neither of you risked speaking yet. You briskly snuck behind the house and up to the old white poppy hill. And Cope was right. The entire hill was lit up, insects twinkling here and there with their pale yellow light. Cope let out a contented sigh, finally able to relax in full. He strode further up the hill to better enjoy the view. You walked along as well, letting yourself be surrounded by the twinkling display. Then without warning, Cope popped onto his back. He paid no mind to smacking his formal attire in the grass. He put an arm under his head and stretched the rest of his limbs out. He was clearly getting quite comfortable in the dirt there. Who wouldn't? I don't know why, but ever since I was small, I just really liked messes. Like eating stuff with my hands and like making mess of things and not caring about cleanliness and like, you know, going about in the forest I don't know, floor. There's something refreshing about it, like something freeing when you don't have to fucking care about, you know, how to be. And just be and let it go, you know? Let it go. Yeah, I really like it. I remember when I first moved into my own apartment. My first apartment. And I got myself like a kitchen table. Oh, the good old days when I lived in a bigger apartment. Anyway, I remember one of the first things I think I did was like just make myself a huge pot of pasta and just eating it on the kitchen table with my hands or something like that. You could I don't know why, but I just realized like, yeah, I can just fucking do whatever I want in my own home. Yeah. Yeah, that was a nice memory. I was 15 back then, I think. Anyway, we also lay down in the grass, of course. You sat down first and then fell back. You could see the stars when you looked up at this night sky. And then you snuggled against Curve, because that is what couples do, right? Those warming contrast to the chilled ground. Cove cuddled closer into him, tucking his arms up near your shoulders. I wonder if Dad will be mad about the grass stains. I mean, I think the shirt he's wearing is dark enough. Even if it does get like stains that don't leave, one probably doesn't see them anyway. That's the good thing about wearing always only black clothes. He tugged at the collar of his shirt. He didn't sound concerned, just idly curious. Oh man, I remember once I got like for present like underwear and it was white. And the thought of wearing white underwear never crossed my mind. And it sounds really gross. Like anyway, like wearing white clothes is always a little risky, especially like pants. You immediately see all the stains. My mother live in ignorance and wear just black, all black for everything, you know. Anyway, maybe you should figure out how to clean before he finds out. His smile bent a little and went silent between you. The only sounds were the rustling of bugs and the breeze and the faraway crashes of waves on the sea. Couldn't help but reflect on what happened only a brief time earlier. Between this and your room, this almost felt like a different world. Was it even real? What happened between you two? Could almost be convinced it wasn't, and that you had never actually stopped dreaming. He stole a glance at Cove. He caught you and blushed. That little reddening reassured you. Cove remembered, same as you. What you had was real. I mean, we could just continue watching the fireflies. That sounds nice. It was easy to be swept away by the atmosphere. Fireflies and stars, all glowing in the night, and white poppies glittering by the light. The view brought back precious childhood memories. You nuzzled your head against the curve, staying close. You had no desire to move anytime soon. Both of you were determined to take in as much as you could. You smiled with contentment as the fireflies danced. The hour grew late, and the fireflies mostly dispersed, until only a few stragglers remained. This is a fucking long chapter, what the fuck? Then even they blinked out of sight, leaving you alone with Curve and your thoughts. Curve stole a second to release the words that had been filling his head during the quiet. I love you, Jamie. You felt a great deal of happiness. Curve's expression was completely open, honest and full of sincerity. It meant every word. He truly loved you. No matter how much it didn't seem real yet, it was. It felt as though this was a night that would never end, and you knew it would have to. All too soon. You were only grateful to have been a part of it. These were moments to truly treasure. You'd never let yourself forget them. It finally ended. And the last bit is Drive. And then we have the summer ending sequence. Oh shit, I don't remember what happens during the drive. Or do I? Do I remember? It's gonna be a surprise. I'll save here, I'll quickly use the bathroom, and then we'll continue. I'll be right back. I'll be right back, guys. Yay! Hell yeah! We are done. Let's go for a ride, guys. I think we should have like this charity chapter or episode was exactly what this game should be about. Instead of like, for example, the talks where we just have like a random drama between like NPCs, you know? Anyway, we are gonna go for a drive. I have no idea what that means. Like a lazy cat, stretched your arms above your head and yawned, blinking your eyes sleepily. The day was warm and pleasant, and you were lounging on the couch in the living room, finding it difficult to do much in that moment. Your moms and Liz had gone out shopping, looking for some new items for your sister to take back and decorate her college dorm with. They had asked if you wanted to go with them, but you declined. For you, today was all about relaxation. Cove had dropped by to spend some time with you, content to join in with doing nothing. Well, that is just the best, doing nothing together. That is great, I like that. The two of you had been chatting idly as you lazed around, talking about the other things you had planned for the summer. Of course we're gonna be cuddling on the couch. We are clinging like that. He had an arm loosely slung around your shoulders and his head dipped down against you, while you were nestled against his side, enjoying the comfort of his company. The day dragged on, and you found yourself yawning more and more often between conversations. You had almost dozed off completely when suddenly a buzz ran out, disturbing the silence. Your phone was on its charger in the kitchen, so it couldn't have been that. Cole pulled his own phone from his back pocket and checked the screen. No! Is this gonna be like, are we gonna go hanging around with the friends? I thought it was just the two of us or something.
Oh.
It's my mom. Oh wait! Cole waved his phone in the air, like giving you a small smile. I'm gonna take this, I'll be right back. Are we gonna visit his mom? Oh, then I like this chapter. Then I like this episode. I don't know what to call this. I like this bit. I think I do. If I remember correctly. Should we be clingy? Let's try being clingy. Let's see what happens. You held on to him to keep him there. He chuckled, a soft blush spreading across his cheeks. You're gonna make me miss the call. Can I have my arm back? You rolled your eyes at him, giving out a small laugh. Really, I just want to talk to her myself. It's easier for me. He poked you again, and finally, with a groan, you relented and let him go. He got to his feet and stretched out, answering the call and holding the phone to his ear as he headed off. Hey mom, what's up? Tell her I said hi, because that's a polite thing to do. He turned to give you a nod, smiling as he walked backwards towards the door. A lock clicked behind him as he exited the house. I was, for a moment I was thinking like, should I say this or not? But it just reminds me, like, every time we are hanging out with my friends, and one of their like parents, is really annoying, calls. It has become a custom where my friend just turns on the volume high enough that we can just like eavesdrop the whole conversation. It's really, I don't know, it just came to my mind, like this kind of I don't know why it came to my mind, you know. It just maybe like we would be able to listen to a conversation. Just it's a really interesting situation to like the friend's parent presents herself so like nice and like a nice person in general, but then we can like hear her in a completely other light when we get to eavesdrop the conversations, and then we can be there for solidarity to our friend. But this just reminded me of that. I don't know why I felt like sharing it. Anyway, after electing to grab your own phone from its charger, you resumed your position on the couch, tapping away at the screen. Your mind drifted away from thoughts of Cove and his phone call with all the many ways your device could distract you. It was an effective enough way to kill the time, and you had managed to do various little things when the door opened again and Cove returned. He gave you a smile as he approached, as you figured the conversation couldn't have gone too bad. You watched as Cove strolled over to where you were still sitting. He crossed his arms against the top corner of the couch, resting on them, while bending forward to lightly kiss the top of your head.
Hey.
I'm back. I can see that. I can clearly see that. You tilted your head and gave him a small kiss because we do that. He met your lips with his, closing his eyes and letting you kiss him longer than the one he had given just prior. Is everything okay?
That's...
He turned his head suddenly, running a hand through his hair, not letting out an exasperated breath. And letting out an exasperated breath. He seemed nervous, but he couldn't imagine why.
Fine.
Nothing he did worry about. You raised an eyebrow at his tone, moving your head to the side to try and meet his eye. That doesn't explain what's going on. He shrugged and gave you a tight smile, trying to play whatever it actually was off as unimportant. There's nothing going on, just stuff I can deal with later, some other time. He was transparently avoiding the truth and you stared back at him seriously, an indication that you weren't going to ignore what he was doing. Eventually, he broke beneath your stare, hanging his head in his hands and groaning. I need to make another trip to my mom's place. There's some stuff out there that I'm gonna use, so I'll have to pick it up. It wouldn't make sense to ship it, and I couldn't bring the stuff back with me last time since I flew. Oh, suddenly you understood what the conversation had been about. Ko was going to drive to his mom's house in Nevada, of all places. When will it go? Mom thinks it would be best to do it now, while I'm still kind of free, but... Ko pouted, giving you an unhappy look, and you could see the prospect was already taking a toll on him. I don't want to. I was just there, and for even longer than usual. Why do I have to leave right now, when it's our last summer like this? You thought it was cute he wanted to stay. It showed how much he appreciated being there and spending time with you. Looking up again, you met his bright aquamarine eyes. Shrimp, finding a sad smile tugging on his lips.
Oh.
Suddenly his eyebrows jumped and his eyes lit up like a lamp. You could come with me! Hell yeah! A road trip! A road trip! A road trip! Road trips are especially nice when you don't have a driver's license, so you don't ever have to drive, you can just enjoy the trip. It's so great. What? You could come with me. I mean, I get that the two of us live next door to each other and my mom lives in another state. My trips there are usually to spend time with her, just the two of us. But this time it won't be like that. All I'm gonna do is drive over, stay for a night and then pack up the car in the morning and turn around again. Most of the time will be spent in the car, so it'd be good to have another person there. Plus, you'd have the chance to see my mom again on her ballets. Maybe we could even find something cool to break up on the way. Cool to break at? Oh, like have a break at. Oh, yeah, okay. You couldn't stop yourself from laughing at his enthusiasm. He blushed a little, reining himself in.
Please?
I feel like it could be fun. Please, could you think about it? I wanna go. A road trip sounds fun. Yeah, the game, it would be kind of sucky if we had the option to, like, not go and then the whole episode just ended there. I'll have to let my moms know, but as long as we've got nothing else important on the days we picked, then there's no reason I wouldn't be able to go. Yay! He put both his hands on your cheeks, kissing your face all over, having to bend down far to do so, but he didn't mind it a bit. Then he wrapped his arms around your neck, letting out a happy sigh.
I'm so glad.
This is so great! I'll call my mom back and let her know right now. Why can't you just send a message, bro? You spent some time together, going over your schedules and making plans for when you could take the trip. You needed to fit it in around Ko's work schedule, which he brought up on his phone to double check. Luckily it was only a 2-day trip, so finding a couple free days in a row wasn't impossible. Wait, where is Nevada? Isn't it like in northern part of USA? USA states. Am I completely wrong to say that it's like in northern part? Nevada. Oh, I'm a little bit wrong. It's in the like in west. I guess they live in like, I guess Cove and Jamie live in California maybe. That would make sense since they live in like beach area. Okay, so it's in the west. Somehow I like associated that Nevada would be like next to Montana, but I guess no. Anyway, luckily it was only a 2-day trip, yay. It wasn't long before the dates were finally set and all the plans were made. You were excited for the trip. A short trip sounded like the perfect way to spend some time. You could listen to music, eat snacks, and enjoy the open road, especially because we don't have to drive. No matter what you thought about things, the morning when you were due to leave arrived. It was cooler than usual, the sun barely peeking over the tops of the houses. You stood outside your house, on the footpath near the road, waiting for Curve. You were feeling refreshed after a good night's sleep and an early wake up. I would not be able to sleep well. Whenever I have like a tight schedule or like I have to wake up for something, I just can't sleep well. With the travel bag clutched in one hand, you watched as Cove finished packing his car. He had organized all sorts of things, water bottles, snacks, and who knows what else. Cove insisted he had everything under control and didn't need help. At least you could rest easy knowing that it was all taken care of. As you waited, you glanced over Cove's car. You knew it well. It used to belong to Mr. Holden, and when Cove learned to drive it, passed to him. Oh, when Cove had learned to drive, it passed to him. His dad had taken the opportunity to get a new one. It was pretty old at this point, but had served both of them well so far. You just hoped it had enough life left in it to survive a trip as long as the one you were embarking on. The slam of a door closing made you jump. You snapped back to focus and saw Cove was walking towards you. He dusted his hands off his pants and tilted his head towards the car. That's it, ready to go? Yay, I'm ready. He smiled and stepped aside, giving you space to situate your own bag where you wanted it. Once everything was safely inside, he glanced back at you.
Alright.
We should get started. I'm gonna be a ways to go. Yay! Smile back with a nod. The two of you climb into the car and buckled up. Cove's in the driver's seat and you sitting shotgun. What is it called, shotgun? Okay, I need to Google this. Why is shotgun seat called shotgun? It seems I'm not the first one to ask this question. It has a Wikipedia page, this thing. Riding shotgun was a phrase used to describe the bodyguard who rides alongside a stagecoach driver, typically armed with a break-action shotgun called a coach gun, to ward off bandits or hostile Native Americans. Okie dokie, cool. Excellent. Anyway, Cove's eyes moved to you.
Thank you.
For coming on this trip with me. Of course, it's no problem. After checking the mirrors and starting the engine, you pulled out of the driveway and the trip began. With a small sigh, you got cozy in your seat and watched the familiar houses in your neighborhood pass by. Bob reached over to turn on the radio. A crackle of static mixed with the old snippets of song filled the car as he flipped through the stations. Mr. Holden's car was in good condition, but it was, well, older. There was no way to plug in a phone to play music, so the radio had to do. Eventually he settled on classic rock station, before sitting back and resting both hands on the wheel. Whenever I think about road trips in USA, I think about the movie Horse Whisperer. It has, like, I remember watching it when I was younger. When did it come out? Horse Whisperer movie. 1990. Is it really that old? 1998? What the heck? Well, I watched it as a kid, and there is like this. I think it's a really well-made scene where the mom drives through US to Montana, and it has like the radio channels change, and it has like this beautiful like drone I don't know if they use drones for that. Probably not. When were drones invented? First used in film. There we go. Is there an answer to this question? Since 2014, yeah, exactly. So somehow they got like, yeah, they got like this from bird's view, like shots of the beautiful like landscapes. It's just really atmospheric. Let me see if I can find a shot, like horse whisperer road trip scene. Driving scene. No, that's a difference. I think it was really well made thing, and it just always comes to my mind. Mom driving scene, maybe. Also, let's drink up. Going to Montana. Is it this? Am I gonna get copyright problems for showing this? But this is not exactly the... I don't think this is exactly the right thing. Ah. No, I can't find it. It's unfortunate. Well, it's a movie I liked a lot, but then I grew up a little bit more and I learned more about the movie. And it's based on a movie, on a book the person wrote to understand woman. And like watching it older, I can see that it's a little, how I'd say, it shows that like some kind of confused man wanted to understand woman and made a book and then movie about it. But I really appreciate like a lot of elements in the movie. Yeah. Well, that was my attempt to show the piece, but I didn't find the scene. Unfortunate. Yeah. Anyway, we are gonna go on our own road trip here. Yay. Can I change it? You know what I like. Wait, what did he say? Ceylon Classic Rock Station. Is this okay? Yeah, it works. I like rock. He smiled, happy with the answer. Time flew by, and with it, scenery outside your window became more and more unfamiliar. Neither of you spoke for a good long while, but the quiet was comfortable. You had become all too used to each other's company over the years. Eventually Cole broke the silence, clearing his throat softly before he spoke. It's been too long since you and I have had to spend time with my mom. I know she still comes to the neighborhood sometimes, but it's not even once a year. I'm always going to hers. I'm happy the two of us are doing this. Yay, me too! Your elbow resting on the windowsill, you gazed out at the world that was slowly coming to life as the morning rolled on by. The sun climbed higher in the sky, forcing you to adjust the visor overhead. Visor or visor? Maybe visor. To keep it out of your eyes. Do you mind reaching back for me? Cove gave you a sidelong glance as he drove, indicating with a nod of his head and a tiny smile. I want some chips. The salt and vinegar ones. I don't understand people who like vinegar chips. It's not a great flavor. I don't know how you can eat that. He huffed impatiently, keeping his eyes on the road. I like them and want to eat them. You shouldn't have a problem with letting me since you don't even like it. Stretching out the seatbelt to give yourself space, you twisted in your spot and reached into a bag holding the snacks. I don't know, I think it's mad. They're just like, only if I'm drunk and desperate to snack on something, then I maybe would eat vinegar chips, but otherwise I feel like it's just a horrible taste experience. It took a bit of effort to sort through the collection of goodies stuffed inside, but eventually the bag of chips crinkled beneath your fingers as you pulled them out and sat back into your seat. Here. Thanks, do you mind opening it? His eyes lit up at the prospects of the snacks and you shook your head in amusement, popping the top of the bag. Want me to feed them to you? His eyes widened, the hint of a blush creeping over his cheeks, but he could steadfastly continue to face the road. Oh no, that's okay. But your hands will get greasy though. Like, then it's your like wheel is also gonna get greasy with like cheap grease oil. Can I just pour a few into my hand? I hope they have like wet wipes or something like that. Oh, it's so great in Japan. You often got like wet wipes when you like bought like some food from the company. It was so convenient. Okay, you did your best to have the chips fall into his palm, but some did end up on the floor. After that, you rolled up the top of the bag and stowed the chips safely in the bag again. Then you turned to the front. When you turned to the front, it was to find Cove crushing the fistful of chips into his mouth, crunching loudly. He wiped his hand on his pants absent-mindedly before gripping the wheel and spilling crumbs all over the place. Let's not have a reaction to that. The hours drifted by much the same as that. It's the same way as that. With the two of you snacking and chatting as the day stretched on. It was fairly calm and quiet, traveling along the open road, and you found little in the way of interruptions. At one point you passed the "Welcome to Nevada" sign, and Cove gave a tiny cheer. He was in disbelief that the two of you were seriously all the way in another state like this. Eventually you had to stop for gas, and made a detour at a small diner to grab a proper meal that didn't consist of chips and candy. After refueling both the car and your stomachs, the drive was back on, just as the sun began dipping beneath the horizon and bathing the sky in a wash of orange light. Cove informed you that there wasn't much longer to go. Much longer left to go. You were almost there. Yay! Oh, I have a driver's license. I guess it's polite to drive too. I guess that would be like polite and thoughtful. The route was fairly straightforward, and you'd had enough practice with driving to feel comfortable doing so. I doubt that. I did start working on a driver's license at one point, but I got stuck with the theory part. I never got behind the wheel, and the more I think about it, the more I doubt I actually would want a driver's license. I mean, it's convenient as hell, but I just don't trust myself enough to put myself into the wilds of the traffic, you know. I'm fairly sure something would happen. Like I cycle a lot with my bicycle, and that already is so chaotic. There's been so many near accident moments of me cycling. I just think about like involving a car in that. Sounds irresponsible. Cope pulled into the parking lot of Kyra's apartment building, the glow of the car lights disappearing as he turned off the engine and let out a heavy sigh. We made it. We are here. The two of you exchanged tired smiles, having successfully and safely completed one half of the trip. You were relieved to have actually arrived, and eager to get out of the car and stretch your legs. You took the stairs up to the building together. After a knock, you were abruptly met with a flash of green hair as Kyra opened the door and immediately took her son in arms. Yay! Kyra is a delight to the eyes. There he is, my gigantic baby boy. She squeezed him for a moment and then pulled back so she could examine his face. Are you even taller than the last time I saw you? I don't know. Cove gave you a look and rolled his eyes amusedly as she patted the tops of his shoulders proudly. You say that every time I'm here. It doesn't even make sense right now. My last visit wasn't that long ago. Kyra simply laughed before letting him go fully and ushering the two of you into her apartment. Then she turned to you, a wide grin pulling at her lips. Jamie, it's so nice you came along with. And as a bonus, you both arrived in one piece. Kara beamed at you both, and while you would have loved nothing more than to settle down and rest after the drive, you could see she wasn't going to let you go that easily.
So?
How was the trip? I guess this is healthy parenting, like a healthy parent-child relationship. I guess it's somewhat nice, this kind of healthy environment. I'm gonna blow my nose again. Okie dokie. I admit I was a binge worried about the trip. You felt the fussing was unnecessary. You let Cove answer that. Let's go with that. I don't know the dynamic here. It was fine, no problems for us. Hera clapped her hands together, the bracelets around her wrists jingling. I'm so proud. I can hardly believe how mature you both are. Where did all those smarts come from? I don't know if these two are that mature. Like, the grown-up party thing, for example, was not that convincing, you know? Anyway, Cove ran a hand over his hair with an awkward chuckle.
I don't know.
Maybe I got some from my parents. Got what? Oh, smarts. Got some smarts from the parents. His mom looked at him deeply, her eyes glistening as she shook the sentimentality off the wave of her hand. Off with the wave of her hand.
Any whoosies?
You have to be half asleep already, huh? I don't want to keep you up much longer. The early morning and any whoosies. How do you want to deal with the sleeping arrangements? I've only got my own room and Cove's, though the living room couch isn't bad. Jamie can use my bed, I'll just sleep on the floor in the room. It doesn't matter for one night. Kyra laughed out loud, startling you both. You raised an eyebrow at her outburst, giving her a quick, quizzical look. Oh yeah, you'll just stay on the floor. You couldn't handle that much back when you were 13 with both your parents in the room. Okay, that was kind of embarrassing, but yeah. Cole blushed a dark red and gaped, completely unprepared for her to pull out that embarrassing moment from the past. I mean fair. I would tease these two guys about it too. Her laughter continued unabated. You're going to be driving tomorrow. Do you really want to risk another potential head injury? You laughed it off. Thankfully, the tension in the air dissipated as Kyra and Cove chuckled along with you. Yay! I'll take the floor. Cove shook his head, dismissing the idea immediately. Why don't you just sleep in the fucking same bed? You're not gonna be fucking anyway. This is safe for work game, okay? You're the guest. Why is it so? They have slept in the same bed in the past. I don't want to take your bed. Well, I still don't want to take it from you, and I said it first. The two of you narrowed your eyes at each other stubbornly. Kyra took that as her cue to step in. My house, my rules then. And you know who I have to side with? I'd like you to take the bed, Jamie. You hesitated a moment, but it seemed like you had to accept the hospitality. With a small sigh, you gave in. Okie dokie. Cool. Would you be okay with me sleeping on the floor in the room? I'd rather be there than out in the open in the living room, even if there is the couch. Yeah, you can sleep there. It would be so weird if they slept in separate places, maybe. Kyra giggled. Actually, no. With my other ex, we did sometimes sleep. Like, I slept in the living room. I don't know why, but I did that. The specifics are like completely erased from my memory because now my exes are together. So I try to be like polite about it. So I just like effectively just keep on erasing memories of the time we spent together. so the situation stays like kind of hygienic, you know. But I think I slept on this couch sometimes. No idea why that was. I don't know. In general, it's like I think I would prefer, if ever I did have to end up in a long-term relationship, I think I would prefer having my own apartment and my own space. But But Jamie and Cove here, they are a traditional romance trope couple, so they will be sleeping in the same bed. Kyra giggles softly, drawing your attention back to her. All funny stuff aside, you need to get some sleep for tomorrow. Seems like you're getting yourselves up to not get any. I know that sounds very captious, but I'm a mom. I have to say these things. No, you don't have to say these things. They can handle themselves, right? Come on, we're not little kids having a sleepover. We're responsible adults, right, Jamie? Yes, very responsible. She gave the two of you a suspicious look, and you stood up straight to trying to prove your point. I leave it at that then, for now. Just remember that the walls are thin in this... Oh boy, are thin in this apartment. If you can't settle down and sleep, I might have to separate you. Oh my gosh, what the fuck? What the fuck? This is so awkward. Kyra clasped her hands together, her bracelets softly tinkling against each other again. It's only getting later, so I better let you prepare for bed. I'll play hostess for a sec and show you where the bathroom is first, Jamie, and where you'll be staying tonight. You hoisted your travel bag over your shoulder and followed behind Kyra and down the hallway. Cove shuffled along behind you, disappearing into the bedroom while his mom had you go to the restroom. The apartment was small, but nicely... Is this a small apartment in your opinion? This is like... The living room kitchen settlement is already like at least twice the size of my apartment, bruh. What the hell? Like, what is small? Yeah, the style is exactly what you would have expected from someone like Kyra. After being shown the bathroom and wishing Kyra good night, we headed into the room and found Cove already there. He had already changed his sleepwear for the night as well and set aside his glasses already. Looking around, you found the bedroom to look much the same as the rest of the apartment, but with small ocean elements you were sure Cove must have enjoyed when he stayed here. All in all, the room was pretty and clean, but it almost looked more like a hotel guest room than a bedroom. Yeah, it does look kind of clinical, I guess, is the word. Cove only spent a few weeks out of the year here, so it made sense that it wasn't especially lived in.
So?
What do you think? It's pretty nice, huh? Mom always keeps it clean and everything, even when I'm not here. That is sweet of her. Yay. She's good like that. He seemed pleased enough with the response and gave you a small smile before opening the zip on his bag. When he went back to the room, you jumped in bed and under the covers, just as Cove was shuffling into his sleeping bag on the floor. That is so sad. You waited until he was settled in before he flipped off the lights, and a soft glow from outside peeked through the blinds, casting shadows over the floor. You closed your eyes, blocking everything out.
Night.
Jamie, good night, Cove, sleep well. The room grew quiet as the two of you wound down for the night, and you found yourself listening to the sounds of the city outside the window. I double-clicked by accident. The noise out there was so different to what you were used to back home. Cars zooming past and people out having fun instead of crashing waves and ocean winds cocooning your house in their embrace. Isn't Nevada supposed to be like pretty like small in population? Nevada population density. Let's see what it has. What it says here. Population density 10.3 per square kilometer. Let's compare that to an area in Finland. Kuusamo. Asukas. Tiheys. Okay, so it has more. Okay, what else? Maybe a city actually. Okay, well that. Okay, so there's relatively few people. There's in total over 3 million people in Nevada. What is the biggest city in Nevada? Nevada capital, right? The states have, yeah, Carson City, and it has 58,036 people there in 2023. Okay. Well, they come from the beach area, like from even more smaller place town, so I guess this could be a like radical change. Dot dot dot. Cove shifted around in his sleeping bag, making the fabric crinkle loudly. I've outgrown this thing. I should have checked it earlier, but the trip was kind of short notice. And we get this suspenseful music on the background. Are you really sure you don't want the bed? I don't mind trading places. No, it's alright. I already said I'd sleep on the floor and I don't mind.
Don't worry about it.
You're already doing me a big favor by coming here in the first place. Just let me do this one thing and give you the bed. That's what I want for this trip, okay? Pursing your lips tight, you gave a small nod and admitted defeat. This is a fucking large bed. You could sleep like untouched, like without touching each other on it. I'd rather have the bed. Thanks, Curve. Like at least 4 people could fit there, in a pile. Maybe even 5. You made a small noise but said no more. With an accepting sigh, you pulled the covers up to your chin and got comfortable. The next day dawned, bringing with it the sounds of birds chirping happily outside the window. You opened your eyes slowly, letting them adjust to the light as you tried to recall where you were and remembering the unfamiliar sight of Co's second bedroom. Of course Cove has nudged us awake. We are a couple here. Rise and shine, Jamie. Cove shook your shoulder and you groaned dramatically and buried your head beneath your pillow. 5 more minutes?
way.
We've got to get started. Sitting up in bed, you let out a yawn and stretched your arms above your head. You felt okay. Uncomplicated. Considering the long drive the day before and late night, you were feeling ready to get the day started. Though you weren't as perky as him, his energy was infectious. You pulled yourself out of bed, grabbing a fresh change of clothes and your toiletries before heading to the bathroom. After all that, you met Cove back in his room. He was sitting on the floor when you entered, sorting through a bunch of stuff in a box, determining what to bring and what to leave behind. Hey,
Hey,
can you pull out the stuff in those drawers? You nodded, though he hadn't even looked up from his task, so you knew he wouldn't have seen. Heading over to his drawers, you started the task of taking out various items and setting them on the ground in front of Cove. Yay! ... Oh hey, look at this! When you turned towards the sound of Cove's voice, you found him digging through one of the drawers beneath the bed. Are we gonna have like some nostalgic childhood pictures here or something?
neat.
Here's something I definitely need to bring. Neat! Craning your head, you got a better glimpse of what he was holding. A small stack of papers. Oh, you immediately recognized the handwriting as your own. Oh, that's so sweet. Those were letters you had sent him when he was away. That is so sweet. He has kept the letters. Let me blow my nose. This is really sweet. He kept them the whole time. You started to feel emotional. Cove looked up at you when you sniffled, quietly seeming concerned. You wiped away the tears that were building in your eyes, feeling a little shy. Sorry. He smiled at you, his face softening. Why would you apologize? It's alright. It's wonderful. This was so positive. It's like, it's overly sweet. It's too much. Thank you.
It's nice.
These are special. It was important having a piece of you with me when we were apart. I feel the same way. That's why I gave them to you. Cove smiled, pleased that the feeling was mutual, and then the expression became more amused. And did you keep the souvenirs I brought back? Of course. His green crew completion. Thanks. I mean, it would be kinda rude to just throw them away. That would be like a kind of a dick move. It's a complicated feeling when you have like some things from like grandparents or something like that, which you don't actually just use, but it's kind of like, can I throw this away or no? But they never visit my apartment, so they wouldn't know, and they probably have forgotten about everything they have given me, so it's fine. I admit I have taken a lot of like mugs and decorations to the secondhand stores to be sold, because I have nothing to do with those. Yeah. Anyway, another hour passed by in silence, and you were happy to see you were making great progress with Ko's room, with only the closet left to sort through. You took a moment to take a mouthful of water from your bowl, and perched on the edge of the bed, feeling productive. Cove glanced over at you and paused, putting down the tape gun he had been using to seal up his boxes. He raised an eyebrow. You know, it's really strange to see you sitting in this room. Why? He frowned a little, his eyes distant and his voice quiet when he spoke next.
That's...
During the visits to Mom's, when I was sitting alone in this room, I'd sometimes think about how you weren't here. It was a weird feeling at the time, that you just weren't around, and now that you're here, in this exact place, I don't know how to explain the feeling. He shrugged it off and smiled a little, as though he had said enough already, and didn't want the risk sounding silly. Life is pretty confusing, is all. Life is strange! I would like to play the games on stream, but I know it will like get muted because a lot of the background songs, like, they get copyright things, and then there are like stream, like there's options like settings where you can make it like streamable, but then it just becomes really awkward when there's like sequences when there's supposed to be music and the characters are dancing, but instead there's just silence, and that is really awkward. So I've just given up completely. Like, I've given up on the idea of like actually streaming Life is Strange game franchise. It's unfortunate. I missed you so much when you were gone. I think that is something Jamie would say, overly sweet. His brows crinkled as he looked at you solemnly, his eyes bright with emotion. I miss you too. All the time. It made you feel better to know that somehow. To know that when you were stuck at home missing his company, he was also missing yours. He looked away satisfied, heading over to the closet and the last of the items to be sorted. Before long, every box, closet and drawer had been thoroughly combed through, with the items either neatly packed up in boxes or organized and returned to their appropriate place. For a moment I thought it was snowing inside of the room, but because there's like these dots flowing around, but they're actually, I think they're dust particles. They just look like snowfall, and I was really confused for a while. With a sigh of relief, you glance around the bedroom and at the work you had done together.
All right.
We're done. Good job to us. I'm gonna change out of my PGs for the drive. When the two of you headed out into the living room, ready to get everything finalized and hit the road, you found Kyra in the kitchen pouring a cup of tea. Cove headed towards her, leaning casually against the counter that divided the two spaces. Hey, you didn't have to get up so early.
Come on.
Are you crazy? Of course I have to see you off before you go. You can't sneak away while I'm out cold. She beamed at him, and in all honesty seemed more than happy to be up and getting ready for the day. Do you want some breakfast? I've got some muesli, or eggs, or toast. Oh, and some of that fruity cereal you used to love. That's okay, we should eat under... No, Curve! You eat the damn breakfast. She made it for you. She prepared it for you. She probably went out to do the groceries just to get the cereal for you. You eat the damn thing, okay? Kyra smiled sadly, a little disappointed, but she seemed to understand that your time was running. No. I thought you might say that. In that case, I packed some snacks for the road.
What do you think?
Even if you don't end up eating them, take it anyway, just in case. You can always feed them to Cliff when you get home, and tell him I said hi. Bob laughed and shook his head, knowing his dad would love nothing more than the polish of whatever food Kyra had prepared for you.
Thank you.
Mom, you really didn't have to. I'll definitely eat whatever you've packed, because that's a polite thing to say. You better save some for me too. Kyra giggled, hiding her mouth behind her hand. There's plenty there for both of you. She returned his smile with one of her own, before putting her cup of tea aside. Well, I'll help you get the car packed.
Sure.
Damn, I feel so sorry for her. She was looking forward to this and, you know, at least eating breakfast. Like, they didn't even get to talk at all, you know? Well, for me, it is a good thing, because that means there's less content to go through. Whew. Although I do like, these are the kind of episodes I was looking forward to, like, just like the core members of these people's lives, instead of those extra character NPCs having weird fights and all that shit, you know. We are at the core of things, which is Cove and the main characters, like their relationship, however you want to shape it, you know. Hydration time, by the way. The three of you gotta move on, taking the boxes from Cove's bedroom and heading down to fill the back seat of the car, until there was barely an inch of space left in the back-end truck. With all of you helping, it only took a couple of trips to move everything, and you were done before you knew it. Then it was truly time to say goodbye. You convened back inside the apartment, where Kyra looked over at the two of you with a quiet smile. It was great to see you both. Thank you for coming. I really like Kyra, you know. Kyra is a really nice character. She gave each of you a hug, and you felt a little sad that you hadn't been able to spend more time with her. I feel really sad. She's a really nice character. It was good to see you too, Mom. Cove embraced her in return, and two of them holding on to each other for a few seconds longer. I'll miss you, but I'll visit again soon.
Of course.
You better. Hey, we should make plans for you to visit us too. I'll let you know when it's settled. I'd love that. Kyra bundled all the stuff she prepared into a bag and handed them over to you. You took a quick peek at what she had packed. There was fruit, nuts, seeds, hard-boiled eggs, and some veggie sticks.
Cool.
Oh, good to see. We've got some fresh food options now. The snacks I brought weren't. Kyra shook her head at him and let out a soft laugh, as though she wouldn't have expected anything else. I seriously hope you're feeding yourself better than that at home. Yeah, of course, it's just not on trips. I can live with that, man. She looked over him fondly, her eyes at last focusing on his face and filling it with emotion. I'm going to miss you, baby.
Me too.
Me too. And thank you for letting us come. That is a polite thing to say again. No problem at all. You're welcome anytime. Kyra put an arm around you both, pulling you in tight to her sides for one final squeeze.
Bye.
Have a safe trip. With a last goodbye, you exited the apartment, though Cove hesitated for a moment in the door, his expression distant. You weren't sure what he was doing, though you tentatively took a step towards him. Is everything okay? Your voice seemed to bring him back to earth, and he shook his head to clear his thoughts, his green hair swaying from side to side.
Come on.
Yeah, let's go. With that, the two of you headed back down to the car, ready to make the long trip home. Soon enough, you were on the wide open road with a car full of coast things and only one destination, Sunset Bird, California. I knew it. It was California. It was California they live in. The drive went as smoothly as could be expected, with the morning slowly creeping into midday as the miles flew by. After a while, you switched places with Cove and took over driving for a couple of hours. The day flew by in a whirl of open road and sunshine, and before you knew it, it was early afternoon. By that point, you had already crossed the state line. Cove announced that he planned a little stop on the way home. He was quite pleased with himself as you arrived at the precipice. Ooh, the Redwood National Park! Shaded beneath a canopy of enormous redwood trees you drove along. Hell yeah! When Cove parked park the car, you push the door to get out, and the first thing you did was look up. It's a nostalgia trip! That is really sweet. That is really sweet. Also, the forest looks really nice. I like the art here. It's really nice. Enormous redwood trees surrounded you on all sides, their massive trunks shooting straight up into a canopy of foliage overhead. There were too many of them to count, stretching on and on as far as you could see. You squinted against the sunlight that was peeking through the leaves and dancing on the paths around you. It's great, right? He smiled at you from over the roof of the car before glancing around the place fondly. Remember the trip our families took here that one summer? I cannot forget it. Oh, I will not forget it. That evening. That evening, that was memorable, truly. It was cool going on a journey and seeing the forest in person, on shrimp. Even if we didn't stay very long.
So...
And I guess we can stay for even less this time, but oh well. It just seemed like a good time to stop by. Who knows when we'll get another chance. His voice got a little softer at the end. It seemed to be bittersweet for him, being in a place that he was so fond of, but not having the time to appreciate it fully. You would have not preferred to stop at all. I don't think we're that negative, right? You are pleased to have stopped here. Yeah, exactly. It's a nice nostalgia trip. Visiting like childhood places. This beautiful place to stretch your legs and take in some fresh air. And mama. There will be more chances in the future, I promise. Let's go with that, yeah. Cove smiled, shoving his hands in his pockets and dipping his head. I'm gonna hold you to that. Oh, this reminds me, like, I was thinking about, like, it's nice when you, like, have these certain places you, like, frequent, and then they build, like, memories when your life goes on moves on. But apparently a friend of mine moved. My friend moved last autumn to a new place, and he happened, of all places, he moved to the place where I grew up, which I think is diabolical. Because it's like it's a place where only like these upper middle class families live, and he's just like he's just a guy, and it's like it feels so wrong that a place I have built so many memories on, and I remember what it used to be like. It has changed a little bit since then. He doesn't know. He doesn't even know. He's just there walking over the streets that have so many built-up memories in my head. It feels wrong, and I've been so upset about it. But in a way, I also am really curious to go visit him at his apartment and, you know, take a stroll together. But it just feels really weird, the idea. It's like a violation of my memories from childhood. Anyway, the two of you walked around for a while, completely dwarfed by the sheer scale of the redwoods. It kind of put your view of yourself and everything in a strange perspective. You took in a lungful of clean forest air, listening to the sounds of birdsong and the cool breeze rustling through the underbrush, taking advantage of the space to move around freely. How have you felt about being there? It was totally a different scene than sitting in that old car for hours and hours. You wrapped an arm around Cove. He relaxed into your touch and smiled at you fondly, enjoying the closeness. Being here again, you couldn't help but reminisce on what else had happened during the trip you had taken here all that time ago. There were a lot of things that had reminded you of it recently. You looked over at the Cove, who seemed to be lost in the peace of the place, and he wondered if any of it crossed his mind. Smiling at the sight, you thought back on what had been a highlight of that long-gone vacation. I haven't forgotten the classic angle chat. You know, we almost kissed on that RV trip. Yeah, let's go with that. Hell yeah. Do you remember that? Cove snorted and covered his mouth with a hand, but he could still see the flush of pink on the tip of his nose. Yeah, I remember. I almost gave myself a concussion. It's still probably in the top 10 most humiliating things I've ever done. You chuckle at the memory and how your parents had caught the two of you in the loft together after that. I'm sorry about that, by the way.
Don't worry about it.
Don't be. It was kind of funny. You continued chatting about the trip a little while longer, about the things you had seen and done and even eaten. A lot of the memories Cove had of the trip were similar to your own, but we were also surprised to hear of a few other things from his point of view. So much had happened that there was no shortage of things to talk about. The place certainly had a nostalgic quality about it. I've been thinking about this lately because I have a new friend. Like, what point do you move from like this, I guess, how do I call it? When does the switch happen from having conversations where you analyze yourself to introduce yourself, have all these like analytic conversations? When does that move to the phase where you just like be and comment on stuff? Like, when do you build enough like memories together to move to a place where you don't have to explain yourself anymore? Because like I feel like with this new friend of mine, we mostly like have like these, we share how we think and how we view things, and like we have like these contemplative like ponderings together. I wonder how long it's gonna take. Like, how many memories do we have to make? Like, how many times do we have to hang out for it to turn into we can just, you know, just be. It's interesting. I feel like it takes a long time. Anyway, you looked over at the sound of Cove saying your name and to find him smiling at you, seeming relaxed amongst nature of the park. You have gorgeous eyes. What the fuck? The words left his lips and he froze, completely taken aback by the compliment. He blushed, but his gaze remained on you. That's another thing that happened during the trip. What happened? What? Wait, did they have like conversations about like eye color during the yeah, true. You found it difficult to hide your blush. Dropping your head, you hoped that Cove hadn't noticed, but by the silly grin that was tilting his lips, you knew he had. Your spirits were light as you ambled past information boards and picnic areas. But before long you decided it was time to bring the short stop to an end and head back to the car to get on the road again. Cove sighed when he finally reached the vehicle, jangling the keys in his hand before unlocking the doors.
Well,
I wish we didn't have to go, but we're going to be responsible and not stay longer than we should. How grown up of you. He smiled slightly, and with that, the two of you jumped into the car, buckled in, and he put it in drive. You were getting closer and closer to town as the sun started setting, though we're still far enough away that the radio stations were unfamiliar to you. Con twisted the dial this way and that before stumbling onto a channel with a song he seemed to like. That was a rare gift from the fates in a sea of static, strange radio jockeys and grating tunes. His face immediately brightened at the sound of it, and he drummed his fingers along the bottom of the steering wheel happily. Sitting back in his seat, he bobbed his head along in time to the tune. We will sing along! Cove raised a pleased eyebrow at your vocalization. Emboldened by you, Cove decided to do a little lip syncing. I mean, that's best. One thing I do like is like singing along with friends, like having like some good song and just blasting it and like singing together and doing dramatic like enactings of the lyrics. That is great. For example, Bohemian Rhapsody, it has like a choreography to it. Let me blow my nose. There's also the I'll Make a Man Out of You song from Milan. There is like this like a badly translated version into Finnish on YouTube of that song, and it's a kind of like a meme, like a Finnish internet culture meme. That also we have like always a theatrical playoff. We play together and blast it. Anyway, the song ended and Cove reached over to start cycling through the radio stations again. Upon finding nothing tolerable, he flipped the dial off in defeat and leaned back in his seat with a sigh. You rested your head on your hand and stared out the window as the sky darkened, watching the landscape slowly melt into more familiar views. The miles went on, and any energy you had earlier was beginning to drain away. You imagined home and your family. You'd be there together soon. You know, I spent all these years living in Sunset Bird and taking a few weeks each summer visiting my mom in that second room. That's not gonna happen anymore, not really.
I mean,
I can still see my parents, but the way it all works between us has changed. Forever. He paused, silent stretching. A serious look settled on his face, his thoughts far away. I don't know. I guess we can like give like a signal that we can relate. Maybe that can be good. I know they'll always be there for me, but we don't really have the same relationship we used to. I mean, that's natural. Cole's mouth pulled into a tight line and he gave a small nod. You got the feeling that he understood how you felt. Cole stared right straight ahead, down the long, long road. The path looked like it never ended from where you were, and that wasn't true. Eventually he found a few more words to say.
I'm so glad.
I think it's good we were able to do this trip without any parents or chaperones. It was just us. We did it all. I don't know, I feel like a little more independent now. A little more ready for what's ahead. I remember the first time I went abroad alone. I think I was 15 or 16 years old. Maybe 15 actually. Probably 15. Am I remembering it wrong? Anyway. But I was still underage, so I had my friends sign like this paper that they would be like looking like they would be my caretakers. It was fun. But I remember we went to Sweden to like I think it was Stockholm Pride, like this Pride parade in there. It was the first time I went on a trip overseas alone, I think. Yeah. Then after that I went to Estonia and then finally moved to Japan. Yeah. But I remember the first time I went to Sweden along with my friends, it was really like a freeing experience. Like, oh yeah, I can actually do this. Like Estonia is like, it's really affordable to go there. So like those trips too are like, oh my god, I can actually do this. I can't afford it now, but you know. The idea that it's possible to do that, it's quite nice. Let's go with I've felt ready for a while now. It's exciting. The topic seemed to wear on Cove, and he made an attempt to find something else to speak on. So I'm kind of sad about getting back. I'm gonna miss having you right there tonight. He cleared his throat quietly, though said nothing more. You smiled to yourself a little, at hearing him say something like that out loud. I'm gonna miss it too. And with the feelings confirmed as mutual, two of you fell into a comfortable silence. The sky outside grew even darker as the hours passed by, the stars blinking on like tiny fireflies painted onto a canvas of blue. The scenery continued transitioning between open roads, industrial areas and beach towns, becoming increasingly recognizable as time went on. You felt somewhat disconnected from the world around you as you watched it through your window, the tired mind growing hazy. And then they fall asleep behind the wheel and crash, and they will be forever unhappy from then on. It was a strange reflective feeling, but peaceful nonetheless. Soon enough the world would return to you and you'd find your feet firmly on the ground. It couldn't be helped. The adventure would end, life could continue, but the memories would linger on. It's over! It's over! Hell yeah! I just wonder how long is gonna be the ending of summer. Is that gonna take another like 2 hours or something? I'm starting to get really hungry. We have been streaming for 4 hours. Let me have a little look. Let me have a little look at the summer ending. And then we can estimate if we're gonna do it today. Moths bounced against the window, attracted the light of your room, a siren call in the slowly darkening sky. Just as the day was coming to an end, so too would summer. Liz would be moving back into the dorms before long. Luckily, Lee had been able to come stay for a short trip before her own new journey began. She'd officially been accepted to her first choice college a few weeks ago. This was her last chance to see you all in person for... You flicked through the plans for the next few months, realizing that you didn't even know when you'd have the next opportunity for everyone to be in the same place again. Oh, they are gonna bring the cousin here too? Yeah, I think this is gonna be another 1 hour. Oh, am I able to do this? I don't think I can pull this off. It's gonna be a long sequence, right? I think the last bit. What should we do about this? You know what? I'm gonna end the stream here because I am hungry. I need to eat. And it's gonna be really straining if I have to do this like another hour. So we are gonna quit the game. Yay. No, it was really nice. It was like chill. It was chill stream. It's a very chill game. You just read and see the lads being happy together. I think that's that's really refreshing in a sense. But yeah, the amount of reading is quite difficult. Oh, but we have made progress with the game. It's another game we are able to finish off, and then we can move on to the next games. I don't know. I just feel this huge sense of accomplishment and joy when I end a game, when I reach the completion of things. So I can't wait to reach that with this game too. Okie dokie. Also, I'm really happy I was managing this stream to be public and not another disaster of a private stream. Thanks Lou and Puppet Ball for saying hi to chat and stopping by. And send you another update. Ooh, you're adding color there. I really like. This is one of my when it comes to like my favorite color combinations. This is one of them. Like orange and this kind of like turquoise blue is really good. It's really good. Also very interesting like coloring the behind. Looking forward to see where you're gonna like take it. Is it like kind of like the spear? I don't know. Is it like an effect for the face, or is it like a spectral kind of energy form of the person? Anyway, I really like the color scheme there. Anyway, thanks for stopping by and checking the stream. It's a straining game. I might be streaming tomorrow again, depending on how sick I am. And yeah, anyone watching the VOD this far, thank you for watching. I'll keep you updated. I hope to be able to stream soon again. And yeah, I'll send you a message, Puppy Bow, like in a few hours after I've eaten and all, if I feel recharged. Maybe we could have a call after that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you another time, and bye bye.